Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of The Stone Genius. My name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. You know me, I'm often stoned. I'm always a genius. I'm excited tonight because we have a returning guest. They are a stoner comedian stoner. Don't know which goes first, which goes last. They're based out of New York City. Welcome back to the program, Shawn Wickens. How are you doing?
Great.
Cool. So how have things been going since the last time we talked to you?
I'd say pretty smooth. Did we last speak in January?
Yes.
Yeah. I'd say things have been going pretty smooth, airing on even like kind of great.
That's good. So let's do nothing to jinx that tonight then.
All right, good.
Yeah. Yeah. So here's the thing for the audience. So when I reached out to Shawn to return to the show, he said yes, and he said that he had some takes on some topics. Here's the thing. I don't know what the takes are. I don't know what the topics are. So we're all going to learn this together. So what did you want to talk about?
Well, in some ways,
please say Bud Light. Please say Bud Light.
I'm drinking a LaCroix at the moment. No, there's almost too much to say in that, I think the older I get and maybe the more wiser I get, I'm realizing that it's so difficult to communicate with people that sometimes people may just err on saying what's comfortable rather than something that's provocative or out there, because it's not fun to like stun people. You know what I mean?
See, and I'm the exact, I love to do that. I love to throw some bomb in there and just walk away and watch things happen.
Oh, well, you can't do that as easily when you're on stage.
No. Now, has that changed? Has that changed for you? Like, I mean, did you ever feel not invincible, untouchable while on stage in your career? Or was that always in the back of your mind? Because we've discussed, I've tried doing stand-up a couple times at open mic night, and that is literally, I know it's 3 minutes, but not once did it cross through my mind someone could come up and punch me.
Yeah. Have I felt invincible? Yes, but it's only been like short moments. It's not been like long stretches of time or like a whole night I've been on stage.
Right.
But it's been moments when I have done something that I think is so incredible that even I can't believe it. And a lot of times it's just like saving a show. If a show is going bad or you're starting to bomb and people are turning on you, and then you somehow land the triple sow cow, you know?
So people aren't going to understand that Rodney Dangerfield back to school reference unless they're at least 50 years old.
That's such a dad movie. I'm sure more people have seen that than we realize.
Yeah. I don't think I ever watched it with our children, but I still have time.
That's right.
So here's the thing also that I found the couple times that I did stand up. Like both times I led with something that got a laugh, like my opening got a laugh, and then it was, as I remember, dead silence from then. And it was weird because it was almost like, people may have been laughing, but it was almost like when you're on stage and people aren't feeling whatever you're doing, whether you're whatever type of performance you're doing, that can be deafening. Yeah. Wow.
All right. Well, okay, here's maybe the first controversial thought of the night.
Okay.
I think that the reason I know I am pretty good at comedy is because I am comfortable with silence.
Yeah.
I
mean, that is good. I mean, that's great because in sales, it's good. I used to always say the first person to talk loses because people would get uncomfortable. But I never thought about that on stage. Yeah, if you could control how you feel during that silence, well, hopefully you don't get much.
Well, I'm also sometimes, I think I am slower than I used to be. in a lot of things. And I think sometimes I do annoy the audience because I just sort of like talk so slow sometimes. Can I share with you a funny story real quick?
Yes.
We'll get to mind blowers later, I'm sure of it. But so I co-produce some 420 friendly comedy shows in the city.
Uh-huh.
It's kind of like a secret thing because it's consumption friendly. And even though it's legal in New York, it's also
illegal.
I don't know, we're doing something a little like sneaky, whatever.
Right.
But we're also, the shows are a blast. Everyone's having so much fun. Anyway, I was at a show recently and I got so stoned, and the host, we hired a host friend, a comedian to host. I was like just doing minutes on it. And anyway, I got so stoned and the host got so stoned, the host left the show in the middle of the show. And I was so stoned, I didn't know what to do. So I walked up on stage in the middle of a comedian's act and warned everybody that the show is off the rails because the host is not here. There's nobody hosting the show. And it was a weird move to have to pull during somebody's set, but it was unprecedented to me because the host, I've never been to a show where the host left.
So did they leave because they were so stoned and they just assumed they were finished with other whatever work they had, or was it?
No, they knew they had more work. It's a friend of mine named Pip Smith. I hope he's fine with the publicity. He came up to me and said, "I'm so stoned, I don't know what to do. I have to leave right now. Good luck." And so that was an uncomfortable silence because I really did not know what I was doing.
Right.
But that's the scary thing.
How are you with hecklers? See, that's my thing.
Sure.
And we talked about this before. I think I'm probably more geared toward improv. I like to be reactive to people.
Right.
But that's because I was scared. Because I think I even asked my wife, I go, do you think they heckle anyone in a 3-minute like open mic night? And my wife just looks at me and she goes, well, if you're bad enough, yes. I was like, oh, wow.
Here's where I am with hecklers. I straddle the fence. I am great with hecklers I do not know. I am horrible with hecklers that I know.
Really?
Like if I have a friend or family in the audience and they like say something during the show, it completely throws me. I've had friends even like try to give me a compliment while I'm on stage,
right?
But they do it in the middle of me going from setup to punchline, and it completely ruins the flow.
Right.
And I immediately get upset because it's like, what are you doing? Like sometimes it's even other comedians. It's like, whoa, like, you know that this screws things up. Like,
yeah,
it doesn't matter if it's somebody who doesn't know, but it's like, so
because it is a performance, and like a performance, I mean, you have something that you're going with that works, and so, like you say, it's a flow, and like the best comedians that you see, it sounds like they're just talking to you, like they're telling you stories that I just thought of this story, and I'm just now telling you about it instead of something that it's gonna happen at this point in the show, and so I think that sometimes people forget about that flow thing.
Sure. Here's another thing I'll say about comedy. I don't know if this is going to be controversial. It might be. But I think when comedians tell like emerging rookie comedians to get out there and practice,
right?
They're not telling you to practice how to tell your jokes. They're telling you to practice how to be on stage.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I hear comedians say, "Oh, I'm working on telling it this way." And I'm always just like, no, just go up there and tell it. Like, and if it bombs, just get comfortable feeling the audience not liking you, because it doesn't matter.
So, okay, so I'll go, this isn't a controversial take, although some people don't like it if you talk about like church. Like that was one thing that always funny. I grew up, I'm a Christian. I used to run our church golf league. I mean, there were 80 players in it, and people were just amazed that I'd be like, fuck that, goddamn that motherfucking ball. And they're like, really? And I'm like, you know what? Me personally, I'm gonna
I
say
agree
that.
with you. I agree with you because why can't we talk about church outside of church? It sounds weird.
Yeah. And if you
Like,
ever say anything negatively about it, it used to be my wife would move away from me because she
yeah.
literally thought I was going to be struck by lightning. And I've come to the
Wow.
point where now, as I grew up a Christian, I do believe in a heaven, hell, blah, blah, but I'm not
Yeah.
so stuck on that whole thing, and I don't have any traditional beliefs to that. But
Sure.
I've always said that, I don't think that either one of them wants me to die because neither one wants me. Instead of saying, oh, I really want him in heaven, no, he'd be great in hell, both of them are like, hey, he seems like he's going to be high maintenance. Wherever so.
Why can't heaven and hell just take a break from, I don't know, killing people or
Yeah.
taking dead people? Like, yeah, give us a break a little.
Oh my gosh. I forgot where I was going about people with church, but well, doesn't matter. That's part of being a stoner and forgetting your flow.
I guess so. I mean, I'm really less in the sort of mindset of there's things that you just shouldn't talk about or can't talk about. I think that anything can be talked about. It's just sort of the way that it's talked about.
Yeah.
And
I also get pissed off at the people that's offensive. And it's like, no, you may be offended.
Yeah.
Because I'm not, I literally can't think of anything that's real that I would think it was offensive. I mean, there's things that I would walk away from, but I don't know. I don't think I use terms correctly, first of all.
I have terms, like, language is always evolving, bro.
Well, no, I was
can
having
you
some
know if
heart
you're right or wrong?
issues. I was having heart issues a few years ago, and I kept telling the doctor, I go, it feels like it gurgles in my chest. And he dismissed that. And then later he goes, well, do you ever feel like a flutter? I go, like a goddamn gurgle?
Gurgle, yeah.
It's not that far out of so I was like, I'm sorry I was using such incorrect terminology, and he just glared at me. Now, I will say doctors do not like this, but it is a very true statement that I make, and I'm not afraid of saying it in front of them, because here's my thing. If you don't fall into the category, you don't fall into the category. You shouldn't be upset. But 50% of all doctors graduate in the bottom half of their class.
Yeah, that you're just quoting math.
Yeah, and so many people think because it's a doctor, oh, you can't say anything negatively about them because they went to med school.
Right.
So that just means they're really good at the anatomy. They don't get grossed out by blood, and they can study.
Yeah.
None of those three things that I'm good at.
You should just picket doctors' offices with that.
So it's funny. So being a card-carrying genius, I can generally pinpoint someone's IQ fairly closely on how I can communicate with them or how they communicate with others. And I have a hand surgery.
You're the test.
What?
You're the new test.
Yeah.
Go talk to this guy. All right. He said you were about a 130.
Well, no. So I'd always said, so I'm a 136, which is barely in top 2% is considered, which is 132 and above. So I barely skate in, and every once in a while I'll have someone from the High IQ Society on the podcast, and you can like I had one guy that's a 143, and you would have thought we were night and day. I mean, because I also don't talk like I talk more. Just like we're having a conversation as opposed to using these big. I feel like I'm always translating to the common man. I feel like on my conversations, but our youngest child, I've always said is the only person that I'm around daily that's smarter than I am, and I always said she was a 141 or a 142, and she came in at a 141. And here's another thing that I think is funny that people think is controversial, because we have two children. And people will get upset with me when I talk about one of them being a genius and one of them not being a genius.
Well,
and I'm like,
who would know better but a parent? Who would know better?
And it's funny because the one that's not a genius, she's getting her PhD in psychology. So it's she's not dumb. It's just different the way that Genius. It's funny. So today at work in my regular job,
she's less smart, but she works harder or
right.
something. Who knows? Yeah.
So at my regular job today in the retail sector, someone was trying to do, it was just a subtraction problem, but it was it was in the $1,000 rate. It was like, I don't remember the exact totals, but anyway, I heard him say it. Someone pulled out a calculator and they go this minus this, and I spit out the number in literally like 4 seconds. And you can count that 1, 2. It is long and then he gives the answer, and it's the same answer. And always people are like, what he said, like they dismiss it. And I'm like, and that kind of pisses me off.
Well, I think sometimes people are offended by displays of talent.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't know, it leads into what I'm going to say about comedy real quick. I think I do know how to save it because, I don't know, people are mad about it at the moment on each side. I know comedians who are mad.
Right.
And I try to remind them, well, comedy is hard. So like, if comedy is hard right now, well, then maybe you're winning. But anyway, I think in order to save comedy, we just all need to try a little less hard. I think the comedians need to try a little less hard, and then the audience needs to try less hard at, like, I don't know, getting angry at stuff.
What are the typical size venues that you're generally playing to?
Well, post-pandemic, it's different. I was doing bigger shows, but right now it's like 30 to 50 seat rooms.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you ever try out material like at an open mic night or stuff, or as an established comedian, can you just show up somewhere, get on stage and try some new bits?
I prefer trying stuff out in a real world scenario. I prefer going to war with new material. I don't like trying it out at open mics. I don't go that often anymore. It's more fun to be scared in front of the audience.
Yeah,
I don't like going up there cocky a lot of times.
And fear is a driving factor. I mean, I think that almost every decision is based on fear. Like, right. I mean, even if it's a rational fear, even if it's something, I don't want to move because of this or that. I don't want to take this job. I mean, it always comes down instead of, I don't know, maybe I'm more negative than I think I am, instead of going, I need to be positive and think of that.
No. I think fear drives us much more than we really think it does. And I think having gone from amateur stoner to pro stoner, I think, if I'm being honest, I think, man, I might have been scared all the time for a lot of my adult life. When I think back on like things that I didn't do or did wrong, or it's like everything was probably motivated by fear on some, life is a spectrum.
And so a lot of my fear was fear that others instilled in me. Like, my dad was a pharmacist. My parents, we grew up in the church and everything. So it was funny, because they're very anti-drug unless there's a prescription written. Then the Adderall your ass off if you want. So, it was just really weird me growing up because so I'm 55 now. I didn't try pot until I was 47.
You didn't get a what?
I didn't try marijuana until I was 47. So we went to Colorado. So so in a lot of that, and I will still, the story, you can tell it's true because it's the same every time. When the first time I tried it, we were in Colorado. An hour after I tried it, because I thought I was going to turn into Cheech and Chong, because I grew up during the 80s and the early 80s, late 70s, when Cheech and Chong Up and Smoke were out. They would smoke a lit and then, oh my God, they couldn't, you couldn't, it was crazy. But that's what I thought. So that was my fear.
I want to interrupt real quick, because I think possibly this was the perfect age for you to start smoking, because your neurons may have just sort of really gotten taught, and from a life of, I don't know, whatever patterns you were living in.
Right.
And then when you smoked at 47, they were ready to sort of like really stretch in different ways, because they were sort of like, is that making sense at all?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it was weird because I told my wife after like an hour afterwards, she goes, "So how are you feeling?" I go, "Fine, I don't feel anything." And then I literally, as soon as those words came out of my mouth, I started wiggling my fingers, and I was like, I don't have any pain in my hands because I have arthritis. And I was like, I feel amazing. And my wife, so my arthritis was so bad, I'd have swelling in my fingers and thumbs. Right. And so within a couple days, she saw that the swelling actually reduce. And so even though she still doesn't
independent verification.
Yes. And because she's still, she's not anti-cannabis, but she doesn't partake. She doesn't like edibles because she doesn't know the effects and when they're going to hit, and she doesn't like smoking. She doesn't like the feel, and that's fine. But she is a very big proponent for at least medical marijuana, and she knows there's not a ton of difference between the two, but because of what she's seen. Because like when I finally told my parents, who were in their well into their 80s at this point, my dad was well into his 80s, you know, they were like, no, you're just saying that so you can do drugs. And as soon as my wife says, Bobby's like, no, it's true, I've said the swelling went down, he can, his dexterity, and they're like, oh really? You should keep doing. And this is how old my parents are. Once they found out that marijuana worked for me, they decided to go to Facebook to see if anyone could get me marijuana, even though it was illegal in the states where they were living.
Well, I mean, they heard that independent verification from your missus, so they believed it.
I know.
I have a thought about consumption and so forth, because we even though it's legal here now in New York State, we're still talking about, I hear people still talk about stigma.
Right.
And which is true. And I thought of a way to stave that off a little bit, or adjust around it, I think. And it's that, well, in order for the stigma to lessen, we do need more people to try it.
Yeah. So here's,
that wouldn't help. So, but I have a reason that people will want to try it, I think. But it.
And what's that reason?
I think. Well, no, it'll take some adjustment from the people who already do it, because there's so much. There's a lot of weed events here in New York, and it's all about kind of crazy consumption. It's just like, let's step into a huge tube and smoke a bunch of weed at once,
right?
To like prove how much we can handle. And I think part of that is getting driven by, there's currently a surplus of cannabis in New York. There's too much of it.
Really?
And so that's what people are saying, and not enough people are buying it. So it's a panic mode to sort of like put out there expressions of, hey, try a lot. Because why do we want you to try a lot? Well, because we need to sell a lot.
Right.
Because we have too much. But if we got more people to try just a little bit, and the way to do that is to not display us being wild and crazy and doing a lot. It's showing examples of doing a little, and then like, wow, this helps me. Because I don't know, I'm stoned right now and I feel pretty incredible.
Yeah. So one night I was having the giggle fits or whatever, and so my wife Bobby, every once in a while when I get those giggle fits, they'll be probably at an inappropriate time. Okay. And so that will annoy her sometimes. And I'm like, but I just want you to, and I've told her this, I go, I want you to understand that I am physically laughing at whatever right now so hard I'm crying. I go, wouldn't you like to feel like that? Like almost on demand if you could. I mean, I don't do that quite as often anymore. And that's the other thing is, so I'm going to touch on two things. First of all, most people don't know if I'm stoned or not.
That's
So,
fine.
and it's funny because I am very upfront. I will tell, I am an open book. You ask me anything, I will give you an answer, whether you really wanted that answer or not. And so, well, people go, well, how could we tell if you're stoned? I go, well,
Right.
because I like to drive. I like to be in control. I go, well, ask me to drive. And they go, what do you mean? I go, well, I won't drive within 2 hours. And I only do flower. I only smoke. I go, I won't drive within 2 hours of smoking.
Right.
And so, like, if someone goes, if they think that, hey, can we go across, can you drive me across the street? I need to pick something up. If I'm like, hey, how about we go in an hour? You know that I'm stoned. But but physically it doesn't come off. But I wanted to change this because I did want to touch on this topic.
Okay.
And as a stoner, you may have some input. So the name of my show is The Stoned Genius.
That's correct.
First of all, it's about me.
Cue the applause.
Oh, yeah.
You got it. You got it right.
Or actually, I need to do the... No. Dang it, where did it go?
Oh,
Because I'm a genius.
That's the one. That's my favorite line of any movie.
Because
What is
I'm a
it?
genius. Because I'm a
Ah,
genius.
From Armageddon. But so the name is about me, not about my guest.
yeah,
And
I know that.
I get fucking feedback all the time about people that won't be on my show because they go, well, I can't be on this.
Weird.
I can't be on your show because it has the word stoned in it. And I will literally
right.
say to them, I go, are you fucking kidding? I go, out of those words, you pick stoned out instead of genius. Because there's a lot fewer geniuses there are in the world than there are stoners.
Yeah.
So, but here's the thing. And if they
Okay.
listen to this program, here's the thing. I treat people the way, unfortunately, I kind of feel. I don't take offense to anything because it's either true and it's true as a learning experience, no matter what it been, positive, negative, or indifferent, or it's not true. And why am I going to let someone bother me? Hey, you're this. I'm not that, so I'm not going to let it bother me. But someone was on my show recently that then they told me after the fact that they were not going to promote the show through their social media because of the word stoned in the title.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why the fuck were you on my show then? I didn't say that to him, but I was literally like, I don't understand why you would have even been on the show then.
Right.
If you're not going to tell anyone or you just want... my audience is okay to understand that you were on my show because they're used to, and it just, I'm like, people don't give a shit. I mean, but
Here's a recent positive review of cannabis and weed and being stoned that I came up with recently.
uh-huh.
And it's that I go to the movies once in a while, and I've seen, I don't know, I go see the Marvel movies, and nowadays people are complaining about the new Marvel movies. They say they suck and everything.
Uh-huh.
I've seen every single new Marvel movie in the theater stoned, and they've been incredible.
Yeah. Man, I can't even remember. Actually, Top Gun was the last movie, and I think that's the only movie post-pandemic I've been to in a theater.
Oh, okay.
And I feel bad. So another guest on the show, Tim Lytell.
You do stuff at home. That's fine. It's not like you're not doing anything.
Yeah, but so the thing is that when I was talking to Tim, who's a movie producer, that he says you need to go out. And a lot of times I talk about, I like to dress up. I like to wear suits. But it takes effort. And people will like sometimes people are like, why are you dressed up today? And I'm like, oh, I went to lunch with my mom. And they're like, and? Like there should be something else. But it just takes effort to do that. And you know what? It makes me stand out.
Yeah. Do you dress up when you fly? Do you wear suits for planes?
Yeah, I do. Because I got foobarred once when I used to travel for work. I got just fucked in the ass by not I wore comfortable stuff on Sunday.
I never have described anything that's happened to me like that ever.
Yeah. Probably by I've never been fucked in the ass. I've used my prostate massager before, but that was like an entry level one. I mean, that was like that I don't think that was a big deal. Hopefully, now that I'm saying that out loud.
Do your thing. Okay, you were at an airport.
Yeah. So anyway, they lost my luggage.
Okay.
And so here I am, and so one of the very first things I did I was a trainer with sprints, and I would do new hire training. So on the first day, I would always talk about appropriate dress.
Yes.
And then
man.
and then I would talk about, the expectations and everything. So here I am showing up the first day, and I'm literally wearing sweats because I'm 6'5", I'm thin, I'm about 170 pounds, but I'm fit, and it's just hard for me to find clothes. So for me to go out and try to find clothes until my bags are, because I'm like, my bags will be here the next day. I was fully expecting to go back at lunch to the hotel, and I'd be able to change and be like, haha, look, here I am. But no, 3 days. I mean, I wore, it was t-shirt, and then it was t-shirt inside out, and then I think the next day it was sweatpants may have been inside out. I don't know how the whole combination made it last 4 days, but I got totally foobarred. So I'm a big believer in, I want to dress comfortable, but I want to dress nice as well.
Bro, I just remembered that you were earlier talking about weird things your parents messed you up about. Isn't that? Yeah. I thought of a funny one right when you said that. And it's that when I was a kid, if we had people coming over, like my mom got a phone call and they were like, hey, we're in your neighborhood, we're going to stop by. My mom would hang up the phone, immediately start cleaning the house, and she'd be like, Shawn, go put on socks. She never wanted company over to see my bare feet. I don't know why. And to this day, it gives me, I don't like people looking at my feet.
Yeah.
It weirds me out. And like I've told that to friends before, and then they've said, okay, let me see your feet. And I'm like, why? You know what I mean? Like,
would you, I mean, you're uncomfortable with your feet and showing to the public, but would you say, looking at your foot, that it is abnormal in any way, shape, or form, or misformed, or something that would cause literal distress?
The exact opposite. I think that they are worthy of being sculpted.
You could be like a foot model.
I could. And maybe that's why I don't like people seeing them, because it's just like, hey, this is a pretty good part of me.
Well, so this ties into right now my full-time job. I work at a custom shoe store. I mean, we sell like high-end shoes with custom orthotics and things like that. And I will tell you, if people come in my store, their feet are fucked. I have not once in the 8 months I've been there had someone come in and even go, oh, that's a normal foot.
Shit. Now that I know this about you, if we do ever meet, I will have to show you my feet.
So I mean, so this is going to sound made up.
Okay.
But it is not. And I can't imagine that if one person is like this, that there aren't more people like this. And I don't know how it happened. Someone, second toe.
Mm-hmm.
So it was their left foot. So their second toe nearest their big toe, their great toe is so you can tell if someone's in the industry because it's a great toe, not the big toe. So that. So if you ever want to impress someone, like if you meet I don't know, the hottest podiatrist ever, and she's like, and you're like, oh, well, my great toe, and she'd be like, really, great toe. But so so left foot, you have the great toe.
Maybe you should do very specific dating advice. That could be a good.
Oh, not this dating advice, because and God, now that you said that, there's probably someone. And I hope they don't listen to this show, but there's probably someone on the planet that I will say this, and they will something in their groinular area will move.
Okay.
But so you have the great toe, and then to the left of it, that second toe was not it was there, but it wasn't. What it did was it tucked itself under the other toes and came out on the other side of the pinky toe.
Jeez, that's weird.
Oh my, no.
What's
I
wrong?
mean, because you're not. So like if someone describes two girls in a cup, it's different than if you see the video Two Girls in a Cup. And I'm telling you that when I describe this is me describing two girls in a cup. If you saw this.
Oh, wow.
Yes. I mean, and it's just. And here's the thing also is that in this
Maybe they survived a very sort of minor but horrible car crash in just like one area of the car.
No,
I don't
no,
know.
because it's dozens a day. When
wow.
I went there, I was like, how am I gonna sell enough shoes?
Right.
And it's amazing. I mean, because if your feet are this fucked up and you've come to us, unfortunately, you're gonna spend a shitload of money because that's
got
just where you are. The funny thing is the other thing that I don't like in this world that's going on a lot now is no one ever takes ownership for anything. Like if someone like they go out of turn or they run a red light and you honk at them, they flip you off. Even though they were the ones that were in the wrong, they can't, not like, I think when I was growing up, people would like if they went out of turn at a stop sign, like a four-way stop, they would wave like, oh, my bad. They would look embarrassed or something. Now people just jump to flipping you off.
Yeah.
And I see that happening all the time in the shoe. People will be like, well, I have genetically bad feet. And it's like, no. You fucked your feet up. Feet don't look like that unless you did something like jam them into heels or pointy. And
you can't, if you're trying to sell them shoes, you can't really confront them about like, whoa, hey, what are you doing to these things?
So here's the deal that I have found out. If you want to be a successful, well-compensated shoe salesman, then you would not do that to the customer. If you decide that you want to go another route in your career, and how you address...
If you want to burn a bridge.
Yeah, it just drives me insane. Some of the just shit that doesn't, and like... Yeah. I mean, it's so bad. I can watch someone walk in front of me and I can tell you what parts of their body hurt.
Wow.
Their right knee hurts and their left hip hurts. And they're like...
You can tell somebody what foot problems they have, and you can give them a pretty close estimation of their IQ score.
Well, if they have foot problems, that is a really good point. I don't think I've run into someone that's just blown me away because, like I say, when I talk to someone whose IQ is a lot lower than mine, I deal with them the same way if I was that deficient from someone else. Like once we said I said that we should have like challenge cards because we're card carrying members of this club. And I go, we should just have these cool black cards, gold lettering. Like it just says our name on one side, on the other in big numbers, it just has our IQ so that you can just stop any conversation by pulling that out. And I can be like, they're like a 120 and I pull out my 136 and someone said, well, how about if someone pulls out a 160 on you? And I go, I don't get into conversations with someone that's a 160 because I would look just as fucking stupid to them as a lot of people do to me. But I'm aware of that. And that's the unfortunate thing is some of the people I deal with, they are not aware. I mean, oh God, it fucking drives me insane when someone has a blank look on their face. Like, I mean, and I'm not talking about in all times, but if I ask you a basic question, like if you just walked in from outdoors and I say, wow, what's the weather out like right now? And you literally look at me like I'm speaking some foreign language, that drives me insane.
Oh, sure.
Because
I might do that by accident because I feel like sometimes I'm always in mid-thought on something. So when somebody asks me a question, I have to stop what I'm thinking about and then think about what they want me to think about. And it's sort of,
but I think
it takes a while to shift gears.
I think there may be a difference there because because I think I would be able to see that your gears are turning, that at least I'm thinking about, because I still
that
wear.
Might be a good way to go through all of life.
Yeah.
Just always think, just always have a look on your face that like, wow, he's really thinking about something. That might be a good like.
That's actually an episode of Seinfeld where George says, if you just always look frustrated, that you'll look busy, and he's like, oh my heck. And they're like, yeah, you do look busy. So, but
that sounds horrible. That sounds like torturing yourself. I tell this joke on stage once in a while that I have started practicing having like mind-blowing epiphanies. Like sometimes I'll just be sitting at home and I'll go, whoa, oh wow,
But you're not actually having an epiphany.
But I'm not actually doing it. I think it's good to practice doing it because the brain will trick your body. Maybe the physical sensation will trick your brain into having future like mind-blowing thoughts.
You know what? I think you're onto something because my wife does that in the bedroom. Figured that needed both those buttons there. So my wife does point out, she goes, it explains a lot when you're trying to do your soundboard and how you hit the wrong button so much. She goes, that just explains a lot in the bedroom. I'm like, well, we have grown kids.
Your fingers are too big. Maybe.
Yes, that's what we're going with.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, I work with someone and and this is unfortunate, but like in a post-apocalyptic world, they would not be anywhere. I would run from them. Because there would be such a total liability in any aspect. You know, was that a bear?
Yeah.
I need an answer really when a question like, was that a bear?
You know what character I think a lot about from film? In the movie Die Hard, the yuppie character that sort of like tells the like I think about that guy a lot. Ellis, I think what the character.
I think that was his name.
Because like there are people like that everywhere, and you come in Die Hard, you can sort of like tell not to trust this guy because like the actor did such a great sort of obvious portrayal of this like sleazebag. But God, that guy.
we have a lot where I live and work. It is a very affluent area. I'm pretty sure it's one of the top 10 highest like zip codes. Like,
are you about to say that you run into people like Ellis from Die Hard?
Fuck yes, all the time.
Wow. Oh
yeah.
Man.
And you know, I run out to him. I don't run into him in work. Now I do quote the original Die Hard all the time because people their shoes are way too small. That's one of the biggest problems.
Oh yeah. That's
and so people are like, they'll be like, well, you can't wear a shoe too big. And I'm like, yes, you can. And they're like, and they want to argue. And I go, did you ever see the original Die Hard? And they're like, yeah. And I go, do you remember what happened after he killed all the terrorists and why he ran around barefoot? They're like, no. And I was like, because all of their feet were too small. I go, a shoe is too small, you shouldn't wear it. A shoe is too big, you can clomp around in it. But so we get a lot of attitude, but oh my gosh, we have a super amount of douchebaggery going on in the general vicinity of where I live. And
how do we cure that? That's what's really ailing the world. It's douchebaggeriness.
Well, so I'm around it, but so because of my presence, my height and build and everything, there's not a lot.
You bring out a fight or flight reflex in people, perhaps.
Generally, it's just I forget at 6'5". Like I will bend down to someone like who's 5'8".
Did you just give yourself an inch? I swear to God, like 20 minutes ago, you said you were 6'4".
No, I'm 6'5".
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No.
Sorry.
And I always say, 6'5" is literally the best height. I would never, I wouldn't give up. I had some guy came in and he literally couldn't have been over 5'2". And he's like, wish you could give me some of your height. And I go, no, this is the perfect height.
Yeah.
I go, when it's taller, I start having trouble fitting in cars. I can't fit in beds anymore. Things like that. I go, when it's smaller, no one's ever said, I want to be 1 inch smaller.
Let me ask this, as a tall guy, do people ask for your help in like
yes, all the time
situations? Yeah, like what kind of stuff?
Well, like right now, so in the shoe industry, so we have boxes and they're stacked tall, and everyone else is having to pull out a ladder. Well, a box, I should be able to comfortably reach up and put it 8 feet.
Oh, got it. So not really an emergency. So like, can you lift the car off of this person?
No, light bulbs and stuff. But it's funny because I always talk about listening to people or watching people because they will tell you exactly what they are. But I kind of forgot that in the reverse of that, I would get to, when I was the Nikon rep at Best Buy for many years, on my days off, I would come back and a lot of times I'd hear, oh, this customer came in and they did this and that, especially during the pandemic and after the pandemic. And I was always like, why doesn't that ever happen when I'm there? Because I would make sure that it was taken care of.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I started thinking the only common denominator is I'm not there when this is happening. And I'm the only one that would step forward. And I was the only one. I think we may have had a couple people over 6 foot, but maybe 6'1", 6'2", and no one. And I don't know. I don't shy away. There was one time where a guy actually started getting into it, and it was funny because he realized he needed to shut up because I started taking my watch off, put it in my pocket, and I started taking my glasses off to hand to someone because he's about to get his ass beat. Because I think he said one of those, like, you don't know who you're talking to or something like that.
Oh, shit.
And I'm like, well, we're about to find out. Because I'm a big hockey fan, so I do think that hockey rules apply. You look at one another. If you think you're going to square off, you drop the gloves, you go at it, and then things are probably better on the other side. I mean,
right.
Because and that's what happens in hockey. Are you a hockey fan at all?
To be honest, I wish I liked hockey more. I do enjoy it whenever I do see it, but I never feel the impulse to like watch hockey.
So when they get into a scrum, you'll like two people will go at it and someone will be kind of standing on the periphery.
I've definitely seen hockey fights.
Yeah. So, someone will come up and grab someone's shirt and it's like they're going to turn around and fight. And then they turn around and look at who it is or how big they are and they reassess. And so it's like, or like star players, a lot of times people may try to pick fights with them. And I remember this one guy dropped the gloves and Alex Ovechkin of the Capitals, like looked at the guy like, you're a third stringer and I'm one of the top players in the league and I'm not going to fight you. I'm not going to hurt my hand. And so, you take all that stuff into account because that is one thing that I take into account. Like one of the first inventories I make of people is I'll look at like their facial features and their hands, if it's a man, to see whether it looks like they've ever been in a scrap, look at their ears, look at their knuckles, have they manicured themselves? Because it will allow you to know where that line in the sand is. Because one of my friends, Angel, if you look at his knuckles, you can tell that he likes to brawl. There's nothing about his hands that says, I'm not going to beat the living shit out of you.
Right.
And see, that's one of those guys that, Angel, whatever you say. And everyone be like, but you're the genius. I'd be like, yes, but whatever Angel says goes.
Has Angel ever been on this show?
He hasn't.
Or does Angel listen?
Yeah. I don't know if Angel listens or not, honestly.
All right, well.
So he was
you'll hear if he heard about the shout out.
Yeah. And but that's the thing. I will take all that into account. I mean, if people really know me with my arthritis and bad hands, the last thing I would ever do is punch someone.
Yeah.
And so like if people knew that ammunition, they may be more aggressive in the way they treat me. But I think it's funny that I will take that inventory immediately. Like, where's this line? Like, do I think this person would scrap with me? No. Okay, this line, I'm going to say a lot more objectionable things because I am.
You're constantly playing hockey. Nonstop.
Oh, yeah. Life is hockey to me. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, even in the bedroom, I'm always trying to go to my wife's 5-hole. Hey-oh! So that'd be between the legs. So I didn't know if you knew what the 5-hole was in hockey. So, and there may be a lot of people that listen to the show. So
I appreciate the explanation.
So I want to change gears real quick. Because stupid people just drive me insane. So it's still going to be about stupid people. What do you think about this whole Bud Light, Dylan Mulvaney? Are you on one side or the other? Does it matter? So I will give you my take first, because if you want to. So my thing is, I don't give a shit. I don't drink beer. I've never drank beer. I did think there was a meme afterwards that said like, well, if you drink Bud Light, you're kind of gay already, because they were just, and so, but I can't understand. But I did run into someone that I knew that said that they were not drinking Budweiser products anymore.
They were going on a boycott.
Yes. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? Because here's the deal. And so they'll know if they listen to the show. And I'm not being I'm not trying to be mean, but they do have 9 cars from one manufacturer.
Okay.
Okay? 9. And that's not hyperbole. They literally have 9. So let's just say that on conservative size, that's $500,000.
Sure.
I'm going to say if that car company did something, you would not get rid of your cars. You would not stop driving, because some of them are classic automobiles. And I know that you're not, or maybe you would. How do you feel about it? Because that just drives me insane.
This is my take.
Yes.
And I think it's maybe a genius one. I don't know. You'll let me know. But I think we should not be getting mad about what corporations, who corporations pick as their spokespeople. We should be thinking about how they treat their workers.
Yes.
Did you know that? Did you hear this story about these slaughterhouses that were employing children?
No, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Some slaughterhouses, some meat factories in the U.S., several states, they were employing kids that were like 11 to 17 years old.
Yeah.
To work third shift. That's insane.
It is. I mean,
I can't even believe it.
So here's my thing. It's insane as an American to think about that, but if you think about the rest of the world will be like, what are you guys talking about? We don't, I mean.
That is true.
I get that. And I'm not saying, but so for a while, for a long period, I was a director of operations for a national staffing firm.
Uh-huh.
And 90% of our workforce was Hispanic.
Sounds like you had an expense account. I don't know.
Yeah. And then, but
it's a good title, right?
Yeah. And then as of those 90% that were Hispanic, my best guesstimation was probably 50 to 75% were illegal. And it's like, well, shouldn't you do something? Well, the deal was we were not supposed to police IDs. If the ID looked official, like it wasn't, didn't look, if it looked like it was an official ID, we had to just accept it. We could not question it. That was the rule. But the reason that companies enjoyed hiring people like illegal aliens or children, because they feel like their rights are limited. Because if an illegal alien got injured on the job, they were less likely to come forward and seek treatment. And here's the deal. Illegal or not illegal, you still are protected by your job.
Yeah.
And it's that type of gross misconduct from companies to employees. And that's one reason I left. I was with Best Buy. I had 2 tenures with them. The last 4 years, I was just a Nikon rep. So I literally only did cameras and Nikon.
Right.
But they were, I felt like they tried to bend over too much for everyone. And so I left there to go to a small store. So it's the 2 partners in the store, one of their wives, and then there's 4 employees. So there's 7 of us total that work there. And
it sounds like a great, easy, manageable number.
It is, and it's nice. And you can go, you can have honest conversations and things like that. Whereas Best Buy, so here's my thing. As a company, I loved Best Buy. They would give you 6 weeks of mental health leave, paid at 100%. Mental health leave. After you had been with the company 6 months. And you could do it, I think you only had to be back 90 days before you could do it again.
Wow.
Yeah. I'm not sure of the second, but you could do it multiple times within a calendar or fiscal year. And I'm all for that. There are things that you may need leave for whatever reason. But people would just
weird curveballs at sometimes you need like stability when things get weird. Definitely.
But I see a lot of people just taking the leave because they thought that they go, well, they're going to pay me for 6 weeks to be off.
Oh, right.
And that drives me. That's the type of stuff when I'm judging someone's IQ, because it's their decision-making process. And if they're going to lack integrity at that, then what else would they lack integrity at? And people are like, oh, we are stereotyping. Fuck yeah, I'm stereotyping. That's how the world works. I mean, it sounds horrible, But that literally is how everyone does everything in life. And for them to say it differently, and you can term it however you want, but there was a line in a George Clooney movie where I think it's, I stereotype, it's quicker. Yeah, it is. And not all stereotypes fit. I get that.
Sure.
I mean, and I totally understand that. But the chance of you, if you have to get to a quick decision, the chance of you being right as opposed to wrong is up, down. Hold on. I don't know how I phrase that. So you're less likely to be wrong if you stereotype, if you have to make a quick decision. And if you don't need to make a quick decision, you don't need to stereotype. I know, right?
I think now I'm thinking maybe it's a good sort of motto to just go through life surprised all the time.
I don't know. Sometimes. So I will tell you that's to me, if you want to throw me off my game, that's what you do. There's two ways.
Okay.
Come out of left field on something, literally out of left field, or make me uncomfortable by putting me in a room that's under 70 degrees. And I know that most people will think that's temperate, but under 70 to me, especially if I was like in a t-shirt and jeans, I would be doing all I would think about is how to stay warm. That's how much of a wussy I am when it comes to cold. But I think my mind thinks about so many things. I'm not sure that you could give me what would you do if this happened in this building, in this elevator with this people? What you could get very specific, and I've probably thought about it. And that's why if you want to throw me off, you have to come out of left field. But then my mind gets consumed with whatever that is, and then you can do whatever you want in the background.
All right. You've got a lot of escape routes in mind.
Yeah.
You feel prepared. Okay.
Yeah.
Here's something that I thought of recently that while I was stoned, I don't know if I shared this the last time I was here. Maybe you'll tell me if you remember. But here's something I thought about recently, if you're ready.
I am.
Okay.
You caught me mid-drag.
I was thinking about flat earthers. These people who think the earth is flat, right? And I know for a fact that I can't convince them. I have no way of knowing how to convince a flat earther that the earth is round.
Right.
But I thought that I don't know, I was stoned. I was making some weird connections when I came up with this. But I thought about how if a fourth dimensional being looked at the earth, a third dimensional object, a fourth dimensional being might perceive all sides of the earth at once. So to a fourth dimensional being, the earth does appear flat. So that would make flat earthers right. They just really don't know how and why they're right.
Yeah, so here's my thing. So people, and I do like that. I actually think that's a very good take. And that's another thing that people don't understand about being stoned.
Sure.
I always do that's one thing that I love about marijuana now being legal here in Missouri is that it is medically and now recreationally as well. So we have a lot more just available to us. But great. I always go and read, like what I picked up today. I've been having issues with my appetite. I haven't been hungry lately. So the strain that I picked up today, helps with hunger. It was funny because last night I was debating, do I want talkative or hunger? And without me missing a beat, my wife's like, not talkative. I was like, okay.
All right.
I will not go that route.
But she knows what she likes.
Yeah, but you can find something because there are times when I smoke something that makes me so creative, but just makes me think. That's why I have notebooks worth of notes that I've always said, they're going to be used against me in a court of law someday. I am just assured of it. But I have. So my daughter, or our youngest child, thought it was funny. I got to find the note. Let's see, because every once in a while I'll leave, my notebooks open and they'll come down because they smoke as well. And so this was the note I whispered. I go, that I wrote down. I wrote, "The devil whispered, I'm coming for you," to which I replied, "That's gay." And she goes, "Why would you write that down?" And I go, "I don't know. I thought it was funny." So
because here's why you wrote it down. Because
But
You
that was
wrote it
when I
down
was being
because-
creative. That's when I was coming to the point that neither one of them really wanted me.
But it might make sense someday.
It may. God, I hope not.
Well, sure.
Hold on, I got a sound for that one. Oh my goodness. What was I saying before I went to that note? Oh, we were talking about something. Hey,
A good thing about getting stoned.
oh
That's what
yes,
people don't
creative.
realize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I will tell you, it makes you forget a lot of shit too, but
Sure.
that's not always a negative. But yeah, I mean, there are times where I feel so super, where I may smoke before I go to bed and forget what I'm smoking, and I'll lay down and literally have to get up and I'll sit down and write notes for 2 hours.
Oh, yeah.
Just stupid stuff.
The other night I couldn't fall asleep. I had a little bit of 3:30 in the morning insomnia.
Yeah.
So I took a weed brownie that I made myself, and it didn't work. It didn't put me to sleep, but I stopped caring that I couldn't fall asleep.
See, that's just as good. So I don't think people understand how good indifference is. Because
sure.
like when you just become indifferent, because unfortunately that's happened with me with my appetite, is once my stomach growls and I'm past that, my body just becomes it's like, fuck it. You didn't feed me when I was hungry. I no longer want food. And so that's literally why I have to smoke at this point. Because even on days when I'm smoking, there would be times where I'll go 2 to 3 days without eating, and it's just because I'll forget to eat. And I know that sounds just ludicrous, but that's how little my body cares about food.
Yeah. I think I need to get stoned because people just like me better when I am stoned.
And I will say that too. People, I do this just as much for everyone else as I do it for myself.
Yeah.
I asked my wife once, I go, should I cut back or stop smoking? She goes, oh no, we need you to smoke. And that's fine. Because
I think I'm a pretty chill person as is, but for some reason when I'm stoned, I think people are a little bit like, okay, good. Like, we don't have to worry about this guy.
I will tell you that my wife is not, there are some strains that will be amorous, let's see, arousal, however you want to say it, they'll put you in the mood. I mean, they'll get you ready. And my wife hates that. I mean, I'm bad enough as it is, I'm sure. But then when it's like, yeah, and don't worry, baby, because I'm gonna last, and she's like, ugh. Hold on, this is her response. Yeah.
Well, I got to admit, I'm kind of interested in hearing a potential podcast that your wife may start. I'd kind of like to hear what she has.
So we actually have a podcast called The Longest One Night Stand with Bobby and Roe.
Oh, okay.
So
I do remember that you.
So we'll have to talk about. We've really slowed down. So what happened is we just are so busy with everything going on in life, and I'm trying to make sure I get at least 2 episodes of this show out every week. That we were doing a weekly show, and it was just I do so much in notes and everything. It was hard to fit it in, and so we've just gotten to the point where now
there's always something to do. If I wasn't doing this, I have like 3 or 4 other things that I kind of also should be doing too.
Would any of them include Pig Latin?
No.
Do you know how to speak Pig Latin?
Yes.
So our youngest child, Trinity, and they're not, I say young, they're an adult. They're 21. They think it is hilarious that I can't, pig. So here's what I wrote down in my notebook. Pig Latin fucks me up. Exclamation point. Because as much of a genius as I am, and I can do math in my head, and I can do all this other spatial reasoning, I cannot figure out Pig Latin for the life of me.
Well, perhaps your subconscious just knows that it's not important.
Yes, let's go with that. I'm going to write that down right next to the note. My subconscious knows it's not important.
I mean, what do we get out of using it?
Well, I will. I'm going to have to think.
I guess if you're trying to say something and there's like a 4-year-old in the room, but then you can also just, I don't know, text the person that you're communicating with.
Yeah, or you could be me and you just say it. And if the parent gets mad, you're like, they're going to learn it sometime. I finally
Right.
did that
I
when.
don't know pig Latin. Sorry. Yeah.
So when one of our children said to us once, well, I hear worse than that at school every day. And then I was like, oh, okay. And they're going to say it later. I think probably the first 13 to 15 years of our oldest child's life, they never even heard me cuss.
Oh,
And then for some reason, the spigot was turned back on and it really hasn't stopped. And it seems that they feel very comfortable discussing things using that language with me as well.
Well, I see internet research studies saying that smart people cuss more. You know how people post on Facebook these like articles of like researchers show that smart people use dirty words. Have you seen those kinds of things?
Well, and I wouldn't put it past that. I always have hated the thing where people will say, "Oh, curse words. That's just that just shows that you're not very bright," or so. They tie it in that only people with low intellect, and it's like, no. What feels better than a hard F? And I'm not talking about fucking, because a hard F with my wife is totally different than what I'm talking about. I'm talking about, well, it's still a hard F. It's still fucking. I mean, nothing feels quite as good as that word. And I will tell you, as a Christian and a believer, I really hope they say that saying the Lord's name in vain, that's one of the 10 commandments, so I could see how it could keep me out of heaven. But I say that a lot because I don't know why. Goddamn.
It's just a great fucking is just a great sounding word. When I was in college, I got a silk screen machine and I made a t-shirt that said Van fucking Halen. It was just like a homemade t-shirt, and I wore it to parties, and people like kind of lit up whenever I wore that around.
Oh, I know. It's like, so taboo.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, I've just...
It was a party shirt.
Yeah, and I get it. I mean, I still in a professional setting won't use it, but I talk about anything and everything. So, and I think I'm fairly good at reading people, so I will say the weirdest shit if I know I can get away. So
I try not to, but sometimes it just happens. You know?
At my work, one of the owners was showing me this knee brace that they were thinking about bringing in, or knee support. And it literally looked like latticed or something. It was this webbing and it all went in. And we had this woman customer. She had to be in her 70s, but for whatever reason, she was giving me the vibe that I could basically say whatever I wanted. And so Louis said, he goes, what do you think about this knee brace? What do you think about the looks? I go, it looks difficult to be on, to put on. I go, the last time I tried something that looked that difficult to put on, it was my wife's fishnet hose. And the lady did just that. She laughed just like you. We didn't have to reference it. I didn't bring it up again. I didn't say anything else. I just knew that I could say it. I would solicit a chuckle from that, and we could both go on. That's another thing that I tried to do. We were talking about, I think we brought up offensive things earlier, that if someone actually brings up something that is, and not so much to me, because I don't really give a shit, but other people might, if I feel like it just needs to be bypassed, I just bypass it. I literally, and this goes back to indifference. I ignore it. I'm indifferent to it. I don't bring it. So I had on my podcast once a friend of mine, and we were talking about football. And we're talking about sports teams. And even though I live in Kansas City, I'm from Tampa, so I really only follow the Tampa Bay Rays, the Tampa Bay Lightning, and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And so I said something about
hometown pride.
Yeah, and I said something about me being a homer. Mm-hmm. And he goes something about, did you just call yourself a homo? Or said something about homo. And I just kept talking because it didn't even need to be. I thought by ignoring it, it would tell him I found that inappropriate. I mean, and it wasn't even so much inappropriate. It was just like, it didn't even need to be said because it wasn't funny. Like, I'll say shit that's funny. You'll say shit that's funny. He wasn't saying anything funny.
I got it.
Yeah.
I thought of a fun thing to do. I don't know. I thought of a fun way to mess with friends recently. And next time you're in an elevator with somebody and there's other people in the elevator, just say to the person you're with, "Oh, I heard someone say the worst thing on an elevator recently." And immediately they're going to want to know what it was, and then I can't. It's too offensive. I can't believe you would want me to do that. I've cornered a few friends in that situation before, and the people who don't know you are like, they kind of want to know what it is.
That's funny.
In some ways, it's a good conversation starter.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I would rather not talk to people in the elevator because with my luck, as soon as I say shit to someone, the elevator stops.
Yeah. Oh, right.
And then I'm stuck with them. And at some point, someone's eating someone. I mean, I don't know how long I'm expecting to be in this elevator. That's the other thing about being 6'5", 170 pounds. No one really looks at me and goes, I would eat him if I was a cannibal.
I can handle being in a broken elevator as long as the lights are on. If the lights go off, I'm like not having fun.
Yeah.
I don't know how to go to my happy place in that situation.
See, here's the thing that I don't want to test it.
Right.
Because the only way I could really, so I don't think that I'm claustrophobic, but then when I think about certain situations, I would be like, I was watching something about a supermax prison, and this guy got out, and all he got to do was walk around in this courtyard, and it had like 30-foot high walls, and like light came in, so you couldn't see the sky, you couldn't see, and you just and I'm like, you know, between that and whatever the size of the cell was, I'm like, I might get I mean, I don't think of me as being claustrophobic,
right?
And so I don't, because I'm like, I could be that, you know, I would just sit down and be like, it'll be fine. But I wonder how quickly I would turn.
Right.
Just like, get me out of this motherfucking plane. And I would be climbing on people to try to get out of the little hatch. I've always wanted to see if they really have those. And every time I'm such a stoner, every time I get in an elevator, never look up.
Why? It makes you dizzy?
No, I just never look up to see if there's a hatch in the ceiling in case something goes horribly awry.
Got it.
And honestly,
yeah, escape routes out of elevators would be tricky.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I am not crawling out of the door when you're stuck in between floors.
Oh, yeah.
Nope.
That's
nope. I would. They could be like, no, we have metal pole. It's not budging. I'd be like, no.
If hopefully it's a large elevator, I can take a running start and I can like jump through if I had to do it. But there's no sort of like
no, because what happens, Shawn, is as soon as you put that added pressure to jump, to spring off the ground, boom, then it collapses on you.
Yeah.
See, I have given this one thought.
Right.
Generally, my only thought when I get an elevator is, am I the best looking guy in the elevator? That is my only thought, because I figure say that it's some elevator portal, and when we think it's a normal, like, 6 flights that we're going down, but when it opens up, the world is gone. And I have to I want to make sure that, because people can't see genius. And talking to me in brief spurts, no one's going to go, oh, that fucker's a genius. So that's not usually what my personality leads with. So maybe
you should make your own card that has your own IQ on the back of it. Like, why does it have to be group wide? Maybe if you start it, others will follow.
Yeah, maybe. Or I just slap down 136 and people are like, I don't know what that means. I don't know. Gosh. And so I was mentioning earlier someone that I work with that gave me a blank look on their face.
How about a name tag that says IQ 136 and you just wear that?
What's your name? My name's Emma.
Yeah.
I'm a 136.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that would be cool. And I think that's what it would say. Like if we ever had like the International High IQ Society post-pandemic, they haven't had any meetups, but if they do, that's what we should do. Instead of my name is, it's my IQ is. And then, because then you could group yourselves. Hey, all the 130s, we're over here. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. 140, 145s and above. You want to be in that back corner. Yeah.
That really might be the way to solve all of the world's problems. It's just like clump everyone together by, mentality, intelligence.
Which I think is funny because companies cannot judge your IQ to give you a job offer, but that's the way that the U.S. military does it, is because we're a non-draft, that if we had to go to a full-on immediate draft, they have to be, because I've talked about this on the podcast before, that the U.S. government thinks that if you're
Are you saying the U.S. government wants a dumb infantry?
No,
is that what you're saying?
No, they're saying if your IQ is below 83 or below, then you are not fit. Now, I will tell you that 70 and below is what would be termed as an imbecile, mental retardation, whatever you want, however you want to term that threshold is 70. So it's not even that threshold. They're saying 83 and below, there is literally no job in the military that person can have. Wow.
Well, I'm impressed that we have standards.
Well, here's a weird fact that, it's either 13 or 17, but it's either 13 or 17% of the United States population is 83 or below. So that means 1 out of every 10 people that you meet is deemed too stupid to actually even be in the military.
Wow. Yeah. Have you thought about, here's another weird thought I had, because...
Hey, I want you to know, I do this every day and everything. This is not you are not to judge whether your thoughts are weird. You tell us your thoughts, then so I used to do this in retail. People would be like, I got a dumb question. I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, I'd be like, just ask me your question. You don't get to judge whether it's dumb. Then they'd ask me the question, and you're like, you're right. That was totally stupid.
Well, it's a thought that I haven't heard expressed, at least I don't think, by others.
Okay, so let's hear this.
All right. Have you heard about these people that can't visualize things?
Yeah, I work with one, and I'm not kidding. Literally, they cannot do that.
Right. It blew my mind to find out that people's brains just work that much differently than I would have expected, And so there's people out there, there's conspiracy theorists who believe that there's lizard people out there. Maybe that's true in the way that there is a certain percentage of the population that they're really driven by their limbic system, their lizard brain. Like maybe there really are like metaphorical lizard people out there.
So it's funny you bring this up, because one of my notes that I'd written down recently about lizard people.
Okay, great.
So
now we're getting into somewhere.
So I like I like UFOs or UAPs, whatever you want to call them now, however you want to term them. And then I was watching a show about lizard people. And if you think about it, like in the movie They Live or the TV series V, they always had human skin or whatever. They always masked themselves, and they were lizard-like beneath.
Yes.
So my thought about UFOs is, if they're going to do that to their skin, why wouldn't their UFOs be slow moving and have blinking lights to mimic planes?
Oh, shit, sure.
Like, literally, that seems to make more sense, that something fast moving that everyone's going to be like, that's not of this world. If you just want to come and view things, you would be a slow moving object that blinks, and people wouldn't even give it a second fucking thought.
Yeah. All right.
I know,
Scary.
right? I know.
Did you see Nope?
Yes, I did.
That movie blew my mind.
So there is actually, on History Channel up in Alaska, there was a pilot that took pictures of something it was near a volcano in the islands up there in Alaska, but it was like in a cloud, and it made me think of that movie Nope.
Oh yeah, that the climax of that movie was so unexpected. I was also stoned while watching it, and I swear for the next 2 days, I was out in LA visiting friends. Everyone I met, I was like, have you seen this movie? It was so out there.
Yeah. And that's what I think is amazing. And when I talked to Tim Lytell, so the movie that he, and it's an award-winning movie now, but Man Baby. And, you know,
Man Baby.
yes. And you can find it free on Tubi TV.
Oh, okay.
But like just the movie process of how your brain has to think. It's much like it's different but the same as a comedian. You're having to think and put so many things together. You're not only putting jokes together, you're having to put an act together.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And so it just amazes me that the people that are able to do it, because I don't think I could write a movie. I have great ideas for a movie. I have one about a European assassin that he pretends to be a plumber and he kills by rigging bidets to kill people. But I don't know how to make that into a movie. I think that'd be a great idea. I mean, who doesn't want to see someone getting shot like by a shotgun? I thought this was just my bidet.
How do you catch that guy?
I don't know.
Scary.
Yeah.
You know, the truth is stranger than fiction. Maybe that person could really exist in the world.
Or they could, now that I've put it out there in the universe. Like someone's like, they were really wanting to be an assassin, but they also wanted to be different than every other assassin that's ever lived.
Yeah, that's my gimmick.
That's their end right there. They're like, damn it. Why didn't I think of that?
Right.
I'm trying to think of what other things you could do. You could be like an assassin dentist and put first you're a chef and you get them to break their tooth. Then you're an emergency dentist. So they come to see you and then you put the bomb in their tooth.
It seems pretty convoluted, but I mean, stranger things have happened.
I have been smoking since we started this show. So convoluted is a best case scenario at this point.
Yeah. There's a documentary on Netflix. I think it's called Mean City. It's a documentary about the New York City mob in the 80s, in the 70s and 80s. It's kind of incredible because the mob had control over 90% of the concrete being used to build. And that was like a real estate boom. Like every building that was getting built in New York City, the mob was getting money off of. That's like pretty lucrative. Like, wow, talk about being in the right place at the right time.
Yeah. I mean, I love stories about the mob. So I was actually a few days ago on my day off, I was watching about the Kansas City mob. So, because there was a big presence here as well. And when we were here, like in the late 70s, early 80s, like downtown, which is now the revived River Market and near the Power and Light District here in Kansas City. I remember there, you'd be watching the news. Yeah, another car bomb went off. It used to be called the River Key area.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, and you would hear about car bombs. So-and-so, 2 bars were taken out with a bomb. And it was just, and I think that was more, and we lived in the suburbs. So it was like, to me, it was cool because it was in our town, but it was also so far away. I really wasn't. So were you in New York during that time? Because you're from Cleveland originally, correct?
I'm from Cleveland, yeah. And I missed the dangerous time in Cleveland as well. In the 70s, there was a big car bomb problem. Like, I think 80 went off in 1 year, sometime in the 70s in Cleveland. That's a pretty high number.
Yeah. I don't remember the last time I heard of a car bomb.
The world used to be, I mean, the world's dangerous now, but it used to also be dangerous.
Yeah.
Like, here's something to watch on Netflix that you as a stoner will appreciate.
Yes.
And
I got my pen in hand.
I'm pretty sure it's a documentary series called The Heists. And one of the episodes is about this drug smuggler named Randy Lanier.
Oh, the race car driver. Yeah. I've seen it. Yes.
Oh man, that episode is so great. And God bless him for I don't know, he was locked up for a while. He eventually got caught, but he seems to have held on to a pretty good, happy-go-lucky attitude.
Yeah.
And it's funny to hear him talk about, and in some ways he was probably always like this. It's funny to hear him talking about smuggling tons of weed in an oil tanker that he bought from like, somewhere in South America to the States.
Yeah, and that's when he freaked out or something, and spoiler alert, and like had to reroute it, and then there was a leak or something in it as well.
Right.
That was an
it
insane
changed the
story.
way- Yeah.
And see,
I don't know, like that's.
Oh,
it
sorry. I
sounds
was just
like-
gonna say that
go
I
ahead.
was just into sport. I wasn't like a race fan or anything, but I think I watched just enough ESPN back in the day, because when I started watching that episode that you're talking about, I was like, that name sounds familiar at the beginning. I was like, why? And then when it found out who it was, I was like, I vaguely remember him.
Yeah. He. There's so many great parts of the documentary about how this guy from out of nowhere just shows up racing NASCAR, and it's like, this guy doesn't have any sponsors. How's he doing it?
Right. Yeah. And
good for
don't
him.
ask any questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a cheap sport either.
No. A true folk hero, that guy.
Yeah, that is a crazy story. So if our listeners haven't heard it, and what was the name of the heist? Is the series, and that was one episode, I think. Correct?
Yeah. I think it was called Heists, and I mean, his episode's really not about a specific heist. It's just he was heisting the world. He was, smuggling weed.
Yeah. So my wife and I we're a year or so behind. I don't know exactly when it came out. We're watching Blackbird on Apple TV, and it's a true story. It's a true story about this guy who went to prison for drugs, and they came to him and said, "Hey, we'll commute the rest of your sentence if you can befriend this guy at a max security prison who they're trying to find out where the body of a girl was." And it's a true story. Wow. And what I actually saw, the way I found out about the TV show was I was watching a video about the killer, and it references the guy that kind of got the information and all this. And so they referenced and I'm like, how did I never, it has Taron Egerton in it. I was like, and Greg Kinnear, and I was like, how have I never heard about this? We have Apple TV. So we started watching, and it's weird because the YouTube that I saw that video was from the standpoint of the killer, or looking at the case from his standpoint. And it seems that like Blackbird is coming from the guy that's trying to befriend him. So that's kind of interesting too. But yeah, he was somehow, I don't know if he was tied to the mob or his dad was, or I don't remember, but there was something in there. I think those stories are fascinating though. Yeah.
I think we're all fascinated by the stories of people who do things we don't dare try.
Let me ask you this. So now I'm going to get on a personal side with you, Shawn. So, and if you don't want to answer, that's cool too. And
I'm 5'10" and a half.
Okay. Hold on. I got something for that. No, so I always talk about my life was sheltered. I mean, I consider myself very middle class. We never had anything exorbitant. My parent, like when everyone was going to power windows in the cars, my parents wanted to hold on to the roll-up windows because it was cheaper. And as my dad always said, that's just another thing to go wrong in a car. Right. So, but I always grew up, but I was, nothing ever, my grandparents lived until I was at least in high school. My parents stayed together for 59 years until my dad passed away. I mean, I never saw, no one next to me was ever murdered.
Oh, sure.
So, so I just always feel, but then sometimes I forget that I used to go down and play basketball. And see, I never, myself, I guess I was just naive, or I didn't think there was anything wrong. To me, I was just going downtown to play basketball. But but I do remember there would be guys that would show up like in their jeans, and they'd go to play skins, and they would like take their gun out of their waistband, wrap it up in their shirt, and put it over on the side of the court. And I just was like, that's the area where I'm playing. But I never thought I'm a white guy playing basketball. I'm the only white guy anywhere around. I mean, I just never gave it that much thought. But I never ever, no one ever used that gun. So I saw like weird things, but I never saw like horrible things. So I feel like I was sheltered. So how, because the reason I asked this is I
Sure.
could not imagine growing up in New York City. I visited a few times. I do like it.
Oh,
But
sure.
I couldn't imagine growing up there. So you as coming from Cleveland's basically, let's call it the upper Midwest, Central Valley, whatever you want to call it, but
Sure.
it's not New York City. So how were you growing up, and then how's that fit in with where you are today in New York?
Um, I don't know. I don't know that I grew up very sheltered. I didn't see a lot of horrible things. I kind of think that my parents instilled in me a sort of just don't mess with people
Right.
kind of philosophy. And so I don't know. I kind of just feel comfortable no matter where I am, because I think I carry with me the knowledge that I'm not trying to start anything.
Right.
Um, I had I do think about New York a lot because, well, I mean, I am here. I in some ways I'm here by accident. And I love living here. I walk to work. I walk around a lot. I don't own a car. I get to walk places that I need to go. I feel safe because there's people around.
Right.
But I was thinking recently about just how crowded New York is, because I also do sometimes I don't want to go out. I don't want to be around people. I just want to be home by myself. It's just like I like being I don't like people on top of me all the time or
Right.
whatever. But I was thinking about how crowded New York is, and there was another mass shooting recently. And I was thinking about how there are people out in the country who think those things are false flag operations.
Right.
I've never seen a shooting in New York. I've never seen a mugging in New York. I've been blessed that even though I've heard friends of mine, bad things have happened to them, I've been pretty safe here in New York. And so in some ways it would be easy for me living here, never really seeing anything that horrible, and then just sort of not believing when there is actual stuff going bad. Right. And then put yourself in an area where you don't live around a lot of people at all. You really do see nothing that harmful.
Right.
It might seem unbelievable to you because it's like something you've never experienced.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I just remember the first time I visited New York City. The thing that struck me is I was there for work. I was doing some freelance stuff with American Express, and I don't remember. So they were in a part of the chocolate factory was the building that they were called, and it wasn't too far from the aircraft carrier, whatever. So that's the year. I don't know what part of the city that is.
That sounds like Midtown.
Okay.
That's actually, I live near there.
Okay. So anyway, we were walking to dinner, me and a couple other guys, and I just remember watching these kids play out, on the sidewalk with this busy street right there and everything going on. And that was so different than me growing up in the Midwest.
Oh, yeah.
And I was just like, that is, but they don't, and I get that. I mean,
sure. During the lockdown, during the pandemic, when things were starting to open up a little bit and people were starting to walk around New York a little, I would see groups of teenagers, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, just walking around together or riding bikes together. And it made me think that as horrible as this time was, there were kids out there and there were kids who suffered because, online learning was difficult.
Right.
But there are also kids out there who I think experienced a level of freedom that you and I probably never experienced as a growing teenager that probably felt incredibly liberating.
Yeah. I sometimes wonder. I mean, well, I just have, my whole problem with the younger generation right now is they feel like they're coming up with everything for the first time. Like they're like, we can't wait until we take over corporate America because we're gonna do 4-day work weeks, not 5. No one had ever thought about trying to make that work before. Oh, if you want unlimited PTO so that you can have good mental health, you got it. You're not going to have a work staff then. I mean, it just like some of the things. So I had made a comment on one of the guests that I've had on. He has a YouTube channel which has like 3.5 million followers. His name's Antonio Centeno, and we talk about style and things like that. And it was very benign question that he was asking. It was supposed to be more about style, I think, but of course it wasn't. Someone said, younger guys, what would you like to tell older guys so that they can or something? And so someone had posted, you guys need to be more open-minded and try new things and stuff like that. And I was like, so my reply was, we have done that. We got old. It's called wisdom. You will eventually get it too. And that's all I said. But I got a whole bunch of positive response from that because I think a lot of people, it's like, oh, I was the first one that ever thought about this. No, you weren't. Stop being. And I think they've been super accommodated. Like even my brother-in-law has 2 kids under 5, and he is 50. He'll be 51 in August, and has 2 children under 5. And
quite a spread.
Yes, and often he will give, like if they get fussy or whatever, they will give them some sort of. They will just give them something instead of giving them time. So so this is how bad it's gotten, and this is not a joke. This is not hyperbole. This is a true story. At the Best Buy I was at a few summers ago before the pandemic, they were doing they wanted to do like a summer carnival for the cookout, because what a better way to improve morale than have a carnival at the store that's mandatory after hours. But so one of the things they did was a dunk tank, because they go, oh, the managers, that everyone's going to want to dunk us. So I was in my department, which was back in video, back in cameras, we had a computer back there so that we could do videos, editing and photo editing and stuff like that. But that day of the fair or whatever, the carnival thing that was going on, almost every young guy there was back in our department watching YouTube videos, because we could get YouTube back there, watching YouTube videos on how to throw a ball. And I'm not kidding. Wow. They literally did. And you could tell, and I would ask them, and I know I sounded like an asshole, but I really was trying to find out an answer. I would be like, why didn't your family teach you this?
Right.
Well,
how did they do?
Horrible. Literally, I think I still, because I was the photographer, I have a picture of that night somewhere of a guy running up and literally karate kicking it, the arm to make the person. It was horrible. It was almost embarrassing, because these are kids that are probably at or just post high school, getting ready to graduate, or just post high school, or even college age, and they don't know how to throw a ball. And I think that says a lot about, to me, that some of the things that we talk about when we talk about being a genius is we start at 5 on the way to 10, just meaning that we start in a more advanced place. And so sometimes we forget that. And that'll also be frustrating. It's like, how come you don't understand step 3? We don't even do step 3. And that's kind of how we interact. And I feel like that's how kids are today, that they're missing out on a lot of the steps because people are handing them a tablet. Oh, you're crying? Here's a tablet. Here's a sippy cup to sip on.
I've lucked out because I don't have kids, but all of my friends who have kids who are about that age, they're all kind of cool. Like I just have been exposed to like cooler.
Well, that's
children,
good. And
brag.
Not only those kids need to know how good that is, the parents need to know, because like everything that's wrong with the children today is I see in the parents that they're getting from their parents. And I
And
say that
if my nephew happens to be listening to this, anything in any way that you feel screwed up, your mom didn't do that. Somehow your uncle did.
yeah. Ah.
That's
No,
my
I mean,
fault.
so it's one of the things about. So I'm going to try to get my mom to be on this podcast around Mother's Day coming up because I
fun.
was adopted. And I've met my birth mom. I want to have her on, but for totally different reasons. But I
Sure.
want to talk to my mom about how difficult it was to not only raise an adopted child, but raise one who's strong-willed and raise one who's a genius. Because
Yeah.
genius...
Did you sort of rebel when you found out when the secret was first revealed to you?
No, so here's the cool thing about my parents. They, wherever they heard this, they said that they were supposed to tell the adoptive child all the time, so it was never a surprise. And so they said that at 6 weeks old or 4 weeks old, whatever I was coming home from wherever I was, I don't know if I'm in an orphanage, I'm still in I don't know where I was coming from. But they said, we're not your real parents, we're your adoptive parent. And so it literally, I just always knew. There was never a day where I don't ever even remember asking what that was. Which is amazing. I think that's just
incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I will tell you this, that my sister, who is also adopted, they did the same thing with her. And it is, I don't know. She's upset that she was adopted. I don't think with my parents, and it probably didn't. I think it was more that I think she feels like, and I won't speak for her. I will say some adopted kids feel like their parents didn't want them. And I'm I'm glad that I'm glad that I was given up. I mean, so because.
Or you're glad that your adopted parents received you, or you got the ones you got.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I talk about many reasons why I believe in a God or there being something. There's no way with my personality. If I have any other parents, I am a Sid's death. I mean, I am not making it out of the crib.
It sounds like they weren't surprised when you first told them, Mom, Dad, I started a podcast called The Stone Genius.
No.
They probably weren't surprised.
No. So the problem that they had was they thought that, so my mom was a child behavioralist. They thought I had ADD growing up.
Oh.
But so genius and ADD can be very similar, but you have to know how to see them differently. So we grew up, I'll get to my high school years because that's the easiest way to show this. So when I get up to the age where I can start working, like 1982, we literally lived right behind a shopping center, which in 82 shopping centers, that's where it was at.
Oh, yeah.
So this shopping center had, I believe, like 150, 160 stores on 3 levels. And we literally lived, we jumped a fence, walked through like 20 yards of green space and then with big trees and foliage and stuff. And then we were in the mall parking lot.
Yeah,
so
sounds like a season of Stranger Things.
It was actually amazing. That's one reason I love that season of Stranger Things is that mall, brought back such, because even before that, I lived in that mall because, in the 70s as an 8-year-old, I could go to the mall in 1975 by myself and no one gave a shit. I mean, literally, I would go over to KB Toy or Woolworth's 5 and cent or 5 and dime, and and buy whatever I wanted, and no one gave a shit. I mean, I was buying cigarettes at the Skaggs pharmacy there when I was in junior high. Not that I smoked, my sister did. I'm in junior high, and my sister's asking me to buy her smokes. That's how much taller I was than my sister. But so when I get to high school.
There's something about kids who have to raise them or get to raise themselves on some level that I think makes them better.
Yeah. I would agree with that.
More well-adjusted.
Well, yeah. And actually, I'm going to touch on that too. I'm going to write down skipping high school, but you'll have to remind me to come back to that too.
Okay, I'll try.
But so at the mall, when I could start working, I probably worked at over 3 years, probably 15 different stores in that mall.
Uh-huh.
So my parents thought I had ADD because I couldn't keep a job. But what I was doing was finding out what jobs I didn't like, and there was no reason to stay at a job I didn't like. I didn't believe in 2 weeks. Who are you going to find in 2 weeks? You're going to put an ad up here. I mean, you can find someone in a day. It's not like things are now where they do background check. That's one thing that's amazing about the job I have now. I don't even think they did a background check. I literally filled out it was online, but I went in and talked to, and they were just like, doing a job. But see, the difference between ADD and genius is that I was using my powers to know what I liked and didn't like. And I was a strong enough willed person to say, I don't like this. And it would even have reasons why. I don't like this, and here's the reasons why. I'm gonna wedge something in this before I get to skipping high school. Is that so? On my original podcast, the real reason I felt like I could do this, I had a show that was it was called the Roro Show, and then became the Roro Show with Steven. One of my first guests, one of my first
this one has a much better name.
Yes, thank you. So. So it was the Roro Show, and I had interviewed. I was reaching out to people I knew. That was the easiest way to do it. I went to high school with a guy. We knew of each other, but we were not in the same cliques. I was a jock. He was in theater. Neither one of us gave a shat about school. I didn't want to be there because I already knew everything. He didn't. He already knew he was going to be like a award-winning, world-renowned playwright. So. So he came on my show. I interviewed him afterwards. He said, I really think you could do this. And I was like, oh, we should totally do a show together. And so we did a show together. And then one of his plays that's been going on, that's been touring the world for like 20 years, is being turned into a movie. So he needed to write, what he told me was he needed to write the screenplay, which is fine.
Yeah.
And so he wasn't going to be able to do the podcast. So then I stopped doing I always thought that may pick back up, so I just kind of left it, and then I started the Stone Genius. I did 20 episodes, I think, 29 episodes, something like that, with Steven. So we did a lot of episodes. They were at least an hour long, so we had spent a lot of time talking and getting to know each other, and it got very friendly and everything. So I was doing the Stone Genius, and I've asked him to come on the show again and again.
Yeah.
And he always makes an excuse. And this drives me insane. I don't give a shit even if you say, I don't want to be on your show because I hate you now. I don't care. I honestly don't care if people like me, don't like. I don't care. Don't just keep just have the balls to say, I'm not going to be on your I don't want to be on your show. I don't even care why. You don't even have to give me a reason why. I often do not give people reasons with my responses because it doesn't matter. If you ask me a question and I say, if you ask me to help you move next weekend, Shawn, and I say no, it shouldn't matter. If you go, oh, well, why not? And I go, oh, well, I'm going to this friend I know. They got free tickets to this thing that I don't even care about, but I'd already said I was going to go. Then you may go, well, then you're judging my reason. So then you're going to decide whether you should be a little ticked at me or not.
I'm not going to tell you what to do in this situation, but I will say I hope he comes on because it sounds like it would be a fun conversation.
So no, here's what happened. So I was going back and forth. I said, I really want to get you on. He's like, I'm so busy. And so I finally was I'm being passive aggressive, but I thought I'd call him out. And I go, I know, I see how busy you are on Facebook all the time. So I still have my Facebook account, but I haven't posted from it since January 6th, except for my shows, because when I upload them through Spotify, I can it'll link it directly. And so you'll see posts there, but every once in a while I'll go back just to see like people in my class because, well, at 55, we're starting to die off. And so literally we have a couple more years before our 40th reunion. So I'm trying to figure out, who's going to be there. Do I need to worry about, so I've kind of been looking. And so he goes to play. He lives in New York City. He does all these things, but he can't carve out any time. If he said, I only have a half an hour for you, fine, we can catch up in a half an hour. I don't give a shit that you don't want to be on. If you feel like I don't want to be on because it's stoned, or I don't want to be on because you said something that I don't like a long time ago. I don't give any of those shits. Just tell me so I stop bothering you. So he finally was like, well, let me check my schedule. And I finally was just, never mind then. And he just responds, okay. So I assumed that it was like he literally didn't want to be on it and I needed to take the clue. But that's one thing that really irks me is when people cannot speak up for themselves. But that's how people get in trouble.
Yeah.
Like,
no, you're right.
here will be a controversial, although very late topic. The U.S. gymnastics team, when they had their team doctor that was put into prison for sexually assaulting them.
Yes.
And some of the things that I read that were put out, whether they were by reputable sources and everything. So I'm assuming, but they're like, we would go in because we had a sprained ankle, but they did a pelvic exam and things like that. And I'm like, at some point you have to say, this isn't right. I mean, I'm not trying to victim blame, but fuck you got to blame the parents then. I mean, it's like, I don't know.
I don't know why, I remember that happening and hearing about the court case and the trial and everything. And I remember thinking, how did he have assistants that didn't know?
Yeah. I don't why doesn't I speak up about everything.
Right.
And I'm not trying to be an asshole. I just don't want to be wrapped up in anything. Like, if I can just bypass something and it's not hurting anyone except the person doing it to themselves, whatever, I don't probably give a shit in most cases, but fuck I don't understand why people don't speak up all the time. And if they say, well, I don't know. Once again, maybe that comes from me being somewhat privileged, leading a somewhat privileged life, is that I never really had to, because I could speak up and no one really said shit back to me. Like, I do that all the time. Like, when people will go, well, you're not as smart as you think you are. And I'm like, okay, how? And they don't give me a reason, because literally I'm not as smart as I think I am probably. So if you had a reason, don't say shit and not have a reason.
Well, if you put out to the world that you want to interview somebody who can explain why people don't speak up, maybe you'll find that person. Who can explain it to us.
Yeah. And I don't know. I mean, and I've just been, it's funny because my wife gets not upset, but she could never understand how I don't like to talk to people, but generally because as a genius, you're always talking down. Like, just think about the dumbest person you know and then being surrounded by that person. You're always talking down and it gets exhausting, and sometimes you just don't want to deal with people. But like, I can always start
that's why I actually think that we're going to be fine with artificial intelligence, because if there's more smart things around, I think the rest of us are going to be okay.
Yeah.
I trust the smart things.
Yeah. I mean, I do too.
Is that
well, and that's why I say I can't wait for self-driving cars to get here. Because self-driving cars, it's not the cars that are the issue. It's the fucking idiots that drive cars. I mean, there's a reason I have a dash cam. It's so that I can see.
It means you'll be able to stay on your phone when you're in the driver's seat, which is what is causing crashes, people being on their phones while driving.
So I run music through my phone. It goes in a holder and I turn music on before I go. And then I will skip song. I mean, I always put it on shuffle, or I can skip songs. So I don't treat my phone. I don't even, generally I don't answer the phone. I have
it's where the radio station was. The radio station knobs were on.
But that does drive me insane. Like, especially like when you're driving, and I know being in New York City it's different, but we're on a wide open highway.
It's not that different because people walk around on their phones. I'm guilty of it sometimes, and it causes problems for everyone else walking around, because it's like you never know where the person whose nose is stuck in their phone is what direction they're gonna turn in.
Yeah,
it gets chaotic on road rage. There's road rage in the Midwest, but there is sidewalk rage in New York. Yeah. Get the fuck out of my way.
Yeah. I can, yeah. And so one of the quirks of my personality is, besides my wife, I could walk away from anything and literally not give it a second thought. Like if someone said, you're never going to use a cell phone again, starting now, I'd be like, okay.
Right.
So, yeah. I'd be like,
It-
okay, well, I mean, can I still use like a regular phone? Like if I need to like hear someone's voice, but if that, I
Right.
can't do that. I mean, I just don't, yeah.
You're adaptable.
Yeah, and I do get on my phone. So I'm not saying
But,
I don't get on my phone, but I'm also
sure.
saying because my
So let
big
me ask, bro, let me ask you
Yeah.
this though, because I remember the last time we spoke in January, we talked about you possibly doing an open mic.
yes,
Have you done it?
I have not. So I have
All right.
I have found an
That's
I have found an improv club. Well, and I think it's because I think that I'm going to try to do something. I want to go to the improv club and see if they ever have something like an open
Practice
mic night.
related?
Well, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
they do have like a workshop, but I don't
Mhm.
I would rather just. So one of the things my wife and I have done is gone to these like mystery dinner theater things where they have it like in
Right.
an old mansion, there's, 50 to 100 people, and then they'll pick people out of the audience to play certain parts. And
Yes.
I love doing that. And I'll really get into it. Like they, they'll think and that's why this is why I think improv would be better, because they'll try to throw
Right.
you off. And so I remember the last time we did it, they tried to say something like, you're not so-and-so, you're, whatever, Southern. And so I immediately switched into a Southern accent without missing a beat. And
Right.
they like everyone just laughed and they thought it was great. So I would like to try to see something more, because I think I'm more interactive than
Oh,
I
got
am.
it.
Like, because
It makes sense.
I really admire what you're able to do as a craft, be able to take a joke, because I mentioned it earlier, you're crafting an act as well. You're
It's
going to
true.
have some sort of arc that goes through there. And that's not what I am. I mean, I'm
used
not
to do
smart
some-
enough to do like individual like a whole bunch of
Right.
just single jokes like Mitch Hedberg, or what was the other guy's name? The guy with the curly hair.
Stephen Wright?
Yes, Stephen Wright.
Yeah.
They just did like short joke after short joke after short joke, or one-liner
Yeah.
after one-liner, where, you hear Dave Chappelle, and I remember one of his episodes where he said, I have a fishbowl where I put the punchlines in that I don't have a joke for. And so
Right.
he said one and put it in. You totally forget about it. An hour goes by, the whole act, and the very last joke is that. Being
Yeah.
able to tie that in, that is a craft, that's an art, and it would be difficult. That would not be the easiest way for me to be involved in comedy. I'm just not. I can hear something and make a witty comment or something back. Whose line is it anyway? I really
Yeah.
enjoyed that. I thought that was fun, because I think that there's a certain amount of intelligence also, how quickly you can come up. Nothing's worse.
You're super in the moment. You don't like rehearsing
Right.
or practicing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Because
I get it.
Yeah, it's because every once in a while you get those, oh, I should have said this. And it's like it's nice having fewer of those times where I'm retroactively going, oh, this would have been a good comeback or a zinger. I could have really, had everyone laughing about this. But I say, like today, one of my coworkers, I don't know what the fuck they said. I go, was your house that you ever grew up in checked for lead paint?
Oh.
And they looked at me and I go, because there is no world that I don't believe that you ate paint chips as a child.
Right.
But I'm just,
I get it.
it was funny because one of the owners is in the office and they laughed. I mean, they just kind of chuckled, but it was a joke, but I was just like, that's not something I could write and then wait and interject it. That was something that had to be done
Sure.
in the moment there.
I have a great memory of my because I remember asking my dad about lead paint in our house, because we were watching the news together. There was some news story about lead paint and how eating it or inhaling it causes, problems or
Right.
something like that. And, it was kind of an alarming news story. And so I asked my dad, we grew up in kind of an older house. I was like, hey, Dad, has this been checked for lead paint? And he was like, "Do you remember eating paint as a kid?" And I was like, "No." And he was like, "Then you're probably fine, whether it's lead paint or not."
Yeah.
It's like, okay, thanks, Dad.
But I mean, that is a very that is something that's very good. So I don't think that I'm going to take some creative license with the first part of this, but the second part is correct. So because I didn't know this till much later on in my, I don't know when I learned it, but it was much later on, not right after it happened. So I think I would have said, "Dad, did I ever eat paint chips as a child?" He would have been, "No, but you did drink a bottle of fingernail polish." Yeah. So evidently, as a child, I drank fingernail polish, and I had to go and have my stomach pumped at the hospital.
Huh? Maybe it somehow helped.
You know, I'm actually starting to think maybe this is why I have so many like stomach issues. Why I don't want to eat anything that goes in. I'm like, it could be fingernail polish. And my thing is, first of all, who's leaving fingernail polish around a child that could think to drink it? And they said I drank the whole thing. How tasty are they making fingernail polish that a child drank the whole thing? Mm-hmm. I have lots of questions about the 60s and 70s because that probably happened in the late 60s.
Well, it was probably glittery and it mimicked the, texture of suckers or something. I don't know. I don't blame you, is what I'm saying.
Oh, thanks. Just like me, blame the parents. That's what it's always about. So what do you got coming up for yourself? You got any big gigs coming up? Got anything going on in your life you want to tell us about?
Next Wednesday, which is May 17th, I'm going to be doing a appearance at a bookstore in Jersey City to talk. Yeah. To talk about and take questions about time machine blueprints.
Yeah. Time machine blueprints, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you,
I'm an author, and I'm making an appearance at a bookstore. It's a legit thing.
You know what? You should literally dress up like Mork from Ork. You should wear something that looks like it's in the future, and then sit there, ignore everyone.
Yeah, I do have a space helmet that I purchased off of Amazon, so I might bring it.
You should do that though. You should go back, dress like from the future, and then like whatever time it's supposed to start, just be there jotting in one of your books. And when someone's like, "You're supposed to start it 20 minutes ago," and go, "I need to write these down while they're fresh in my memory."
Yeah, no, it's an endless supply of humor. The show's gonna be hilarious.
Well, that'll be awesome. So
yeah.
How often do you actually think about time travel?
I don't try to do it, but sometimes it just sort of like happens.
So here's my latest thing on time travel. Like if I wanted to go into my past.
Good, because I'm tired of always talking about it. I would like to hear someone else talk about it. So go take it away.
My thought is like if I ever go into a coma, that would be my chance for my brain to reset to any point in time in my life. Because I do believe that as individuals, we actually see and comprehend everything around us. That's why some people, like our youngest child, has a near photographic memory. There's people like Mary Lou Henner and I think a handful of others in the world that can remember every day of their life. So I do think that all of us probably have that capability, but because you've already lived your life and you lived where you grew up, you could basically go back. If you go into a coma, go back in time, and your brain, you just relive that, recreate it. Because I'm still in can I time travel if I'm living in a simulation?
I'll do you one better, I think.
Okay.
I think if we figure out a way to tap into those memories in our subconscious, which I think it is possible, supposedly, I don't know, I've watched stuff on YouTube or I've read about neurologists saying that, like, yeah, your subconscious memory is completely intact,
Right.
If we're able to access that, and if we're able to somehow use virtual reality to sort of like rewind to any point in time from our memory, like someone else could be watching that as well. Not only could you go back in time, somebody can go back in time with you to your memories.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
So have you?
Why is that inconceivable? Like, that's probably something we'll be able to do, and that is a version of time travel in a way.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I think I'm right.
I mean, yeah. So
And by me saying like, oh, I think I'm right, I'm also not doing any of the work to do that. I
Right.
just know that there are people in the world smart enough that they're going to figure it out.
well, there's so much weird. So not and weird's not the right term. So I had Liz Enton on a previous show, and she was talking about. So here's one thing that threw me, kind of threw me off guard. Is
Sure.
she was we were gonna talk about the afterlife. And
Oh,
I know that
fun.
there was talks about mediums as well, but
Yeah.
I thought it was more about, because she's an atheist, and it was about the afterlife. So I was interested because I was thinking, heaven, hell, what do you think? You know, I thought it was about that, but it's actually contacting people that have gone on before us. And she got into this when
Got it.
so when she's actually researching and finding, when she reaches out to a medium, you know, she's using everything is fake. Her whole identity, everything is fake, so that they can't Google her and find her.
Right.
You know, she's done it in person, over the phone. She's actually done it where they have tones, like a tone is yes, a different tone's no, and a different tone is
Weird.
so that they can't even infer anything from the voice. And she says that there's been things that she can't explain. She goes, there's just no, there's no way. And that blows me away. I mean,
I get it. I have a similar experience in some ways. I used to date somebody whose mother was a psychic medium. And one time when we were hanging out, she just sort of like told me, Shawn, I have some things to tell you about your mother. She came to me. And I don't know, I had an interesting discussion with my ex-girlfriend after it happened, because even though this was her mom, she was just like, I don't know. I can't tell you that what she's doing is real.
right.
It's possible that she believes so hard that she can do it that somehow, like, maybe she can read people like better than other people can. You know what I mean?
Right.
And it's like, maybe intuition really is a sense that is on the same level of like seeing and hearing. And so it's like, you know, who knows if it's true? Like, the people doing it might even not know if if they're really doing it or not, you know?
So my thought was, when I was talking to Liz, is she said that the median had said, so the reason she got into this is her father passed away in 2015, and that her father through the median was trying to say something about her mom, and she was a counselor, psychiatrist. So she used like a psychiatrist sofa, and so she said, "Your dad's pointing to a psychiatrist sofa, referencing your mom as your mom, and that is what I use." And like my whole thing is, why isn't anyone asking them what they're doing? Like, I don't need to know. Don't tell me any code words. Like, so I'm going to say this out loud now, so no psychic could ever use it against me. Like, I was trying to think of what, my dad's the only, like, well, besides grandparents, but my mom's still alive. My dad passed away at 90 last year. And I was trying to think of what is something he would say that he would only say to me.
Right.
And, you know, I was like, I'm disappointed in you. That I was like, he probably said that to my sister too, so I can't just narrow on that. But he used to, for some reason, I like chip beef or corned beef in gravy on toast. And so for some reason in the Army, I guess, at least back in the 50s when my dad was in the military, they would call that shit on a shingle.
Yeah.
And my dad was very anti-cussing.
Right.
And so we always got a kick out of, oh, you're having shit on the shingle, because, you know, he'd always be like, it's not a cuss word because it's food, or I don't know. You know, he was justifying it some way. So I was trying to think of what my dad could say to me that I would refer, and there's literally nothing.
Well,
Because I would just be like, what are you doing? What have you been doing the last year?
right. I've got a parallel thought.
Yes.
This is somewhat similar. But I once had a friend ask me about time travel stuff.
Uh-huh.
They said, if a time traveler came to you and if somebody came to you and said, hey, I'm from the future, what would they have to tell you in order for you to believe that they were from the future?
Right.
And I said, I can't tell you that because I already know what they would have to say.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't tell you because that would like prevent it from happening, maybe.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
Well, you know, and that's great, because
I think maybe what the answer is, what this means for you is that if a medium met with you, I think they would say, oh, this is what they're saying. I mean, they would tell you what they would say.
Right.
You know?
So here, the only thing that I could think of, but he's not, well, to my knowledge, he's not dead.
Sure.
So my biological father, I know who that is.
Oh, okay.
And I have not met him. I've met my biological mother and my brother and half sister, nieces, nephews on that side. So I was just trying to find out whether I could track this guy down and back. This is like 2016. And so part of my problem of being somewhere on the spectrum is that sometimes I forget others have feelings that I don't have, or you know, they may be, something may be more damaging. They may think about something a lot longer than I would.
Yeah.
So I reached out to this girl and I just saw her go, are you related to this guy? And I said his name, and she goes, you know, I'm his daughter. Why? And I go, well, I was just trying to find him. And then I think she looked back to see who I was, saw that I was probably about the same age as her, just a little bit older probably. And so then she responded, are you my brother?
Oh, right.
Yeah. But I'm like, that came out of nowhere, because so I always knew that I would probably have half brothers and half sisters out there. So when I finally met him, that was no big deal.
Yeah. Where do you think that sense came from? Were you told that, or you just sort of?
Well, no, I just knew if I had a mom and a dad, if they ever got remarried or whatever, or had sex out of wedlock, which they've obviously done at least once in their lives each, that I would have a half brother, that I would have someone out there who is my mom or my dad. So I didn't even think about how that might impact her, but that person, I ended up talking to them on the phone once, and there's some things that they said, well, I guess I wouldn't even know that they were, I mean, I would just have to take that what she told me was true about this person, because I'm trying to think, I don't think there is something that someone could come to the future and tell me. I should think about that. I haven't done that like you, and now, see, you've caught me off guard. So
cool. All right. I hope you're not angered.
No, but one thing about that is, you know, if you, by saying that to someone, what would you do if someone from the future came? Would you even believe it? I've asked, you know, very religious people today, like, have you heard about the person that's having the virgin birth? And they're like, they'll deny it. No, they're lying, or it's a bird. You know, and I'm just making the story up. But, you know, now those people that believe in the virgin birth of Jesus wouldn't believe the story if someone said, I am this. So how would you, how do you prove that? I mean,
maybe if the Messiah arrived now, they would be born from a man instead of born of a virgin.
So here's my genius intellect problem with the Jesus story. Once again, I 100% believe that there is something cosmic out there that is making sure I don't give a shit about anyone else. I only care about myself. And it is making a lot of stuff work out for me. I got the greatest, I had a biological mom who loved me enough to put me up for adoption and loved me enough to search me out, 50 years later. I had wonderful parents that raised me and gave me everything I could ever want, and they denied me everything that I didn't need. I mean, literally, they were amazing. So, and the woman that I met 27 years ago, I am still just as hot for her now as I was. And the weird thing is, the day after I met her, I told my roommate, who we're still in contact with, that I was going to marry her, that I was going to marry my wife. And so I would love to go back in time to find out what happened that first night that made me so sure, because there was nothing that really stood out. I just cosmically knew. That being said, I have a problem with, like, if Jesus came to tell the world, hey, I'm the Messiah, blah, blah, blah. If you would have just waited 2,000 years, he could have used Twitter. And I'm being serious. It just seems like really shitty timing. If you're the all great and almighty God. And then my second thing is, so how about if Jesus was actually, how about if he was actually an alien?
Right.
And that's how he came. Then I'm still okay with that, but then I'm pissed that I missed aliens by 2,000 years.
Oh, sure.
But that's kind of how that's how I view it. I'm like, Jesus could have made it a lot easier. You come and do you raise Lazarus from the dead, you're going to get a lot of new followers just from that. And that could be a short, 15-second reel of you walking in the room, touching Lazarus and go, be healed, and he sit up or something. It just seems like really poor planning on the almighty God to arrive 2,000 years before Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. I have no rebuttal.
Okay.
Again, that's
And if anyone ever says, well, the Lord works in mysterious ways, I will punch them. If that's their response to me saying that is not a good response.
Yeah.
Maybe
everybody works in mysterious ways. Like, I don't know. We're always surprised by people and things. Like, everything's mysterious.
So I think the most surprising thing about me is how open and honest I was. I remember having a guest on about a year ago who I've known for a long time, and we've been very friendly. We've always been friendly. For 40 years. Yeah. And we know each other. We've gone to each other's houses, played golf together. So we're friendly enough. And I remember after the podcast, they said, wow, I didn't know we were such good friends. I go, what do you mean? And they go, just all the stuff you were talking to me about. Yeah. And I'm like, I literally would say that stuff to a stranger. Literally, I'd be like, if a stranger was like something like, my butt hurts, I'd be like, your butt hurts. My prostate massager last night, I could not find the remote to turn it off. I would talk about anything and not even give it a second thought. Because
you know what? I think that makes you, believe it or not, I think that makes you a good candidate for being a time traveler.
That would be, I would hop on that.
We want honest people going back and forth. We don't want deceitful people going around. So it's like, I don't know. We need more people like you. Not that I'm recruiting.
No, but I would. Hey, have you ever seen the movie Safety Not Guaranteed?
I've not. I should.
You should look it up. It has Aubrey Plaza in it. Another guy who you're gonna know. He was in The League. He's been in a lot of other stuff. I just can't think of his name.
I can picture him.
But it's about time travel. And
I should watch it.
You should go find the YouTube trailer for it, because you'll watch the trailer. You'll love it. And it's a great story. It really is. There are a few other people that you'll recognize in it, but it's a really good story about time travel. And it's funny because I'm 7 years old.
I'll count it as research.
Okay. I'm 7 years older than my wife. And we met when I was 28 and she was 21. And I need to say this now just so that it's out there. So podcast, so at least someone that we can reference this. I have said that if I time travel back in time, and say I go back and I get back to I'm in high school. Say my sophomore year, I'm 15. I
Okay.
sure as fuck am gonna come after my wife, who's only, I get it, she's 8. I understand that. But
Right.
we already know that we make it for at least
Yeah.
27 years.
Right.
So I'm just letting the world know that
You want to meet her. You're not doing anything weird.
I just want, oh yeah, I was 28.
Right.
If I could have spent more, oh great, she just walked in too.
Oh.
Hold on, I got a sound for that. I was gonna say if I could have met her earlier, I would, but then it just gets in because, then if I'm 27, she's 20. Then, so then pretty soon she's 16, which in Kansas where we met, that was legal, but really you're still going to get some looks when you go to the mall holding a 16-year-old's hand when you're 23. So, but I just wanted it to be out there that if I am able to time travel, I am going to find my wife because I do want to have more time with her. And as soon as this is over, because that's the point that she walked in on in this show, I know she's going to be like, don't do that. Please. We've had enough time.
I don't know that it would work that way, though, that if you went back to your past, you would then also be younger. You might still be this age.
Well, then the comment that I made is no less true, but more creepy. So I will say that.
Yes,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we've actually had that talk before. She goes, that's just gross.
Got it.
Yeah. What would be, so last question.
Okay.
What is going to be, for this time, because I love talking to you, we're going to have you back on again. If you can travel, because I know you've thought about this, if you could travel to any time in the history of histories, to any location, where would that be and why?
Okay. I'm going to answer that question by answering another question. Okay?
Okay.
And it's, who living or dead would you want to have dinner with? Okay, my answer is that I would want to have dinner with a time traveler from the future and then have them pick who else I would enjoy having dinner with, knowing that a time traveler is there.
So with the time travel, so that they may pick someone that you think is unremarkable, so they would have to pick someone from your current time. So a time traveler comes back, and then I
want them to pick who else is at the table.
So it'd be like
they would know.
So it'd be like a time traveler coming to you in 1994 and then taking you out to dinner with Barack and Michelle Obama. Someone that you probably no one had. I'm sure people had heard of him in 1994. Someone that had done something. Okay.
If they're having dinner with me, they're going to be like, "Hey, Shawn, I know enough about you because I'm from the future. This is who else you would want to have dinner with." And I'd be like, "Okay, great. I'm in your hands." So the answer is to where I want to go. It would be somewhere in the future, wherever they want me to be, wherever they like, whatever future reality invites me to go there.
Right.
Like that's where I want to go, wherever I'm invited in the future.
So you would rather go to the future and not the past?
I'd rather go forward.
Yeah. See, I don't. I just have this feeling that
it's possible that the future would be so fucking scary, and not in like a Terminator way. Like it just like, holy shit, this is too much to handle. Like it might be just overwhelming.
Right. Did you ever see the TV show 1963?
The Stephen King thing.
Yeah, I couldn't remember who where they would go like into the closet or whether, and they'd go back to 1963.
Yeah. That was a great story. Who doesn't want to know that answer? What was going on?
Yeah, see, I don't think I would want to go. So the reason I thought about that is there's one scene where I think it's James Franco that's in it, and he's trying to get away from someone, and he had his cell phone with him. And so he puts a video on the cell phone. So and sets it on the bed. So when the guy comes in, he gets distracted and goes and sees that. And then he like knocks him over the head and runs out or whatever. And I don't know in the future. I think I have such a poor outlook on the future, the way everything's going. Like I don't have problems with really. So, like I'll tell people I don't have a problem with anyone telling me anything as long as it's true and they can back it up.
Okay.
I don't want them to say,
That makes sense.
You know, I don't want them to say, "Oh, well, I can reach something as high as you can when they're a foot shorter than me." And it's obvious that they can't.
Okay.
That you don't get to say that. And a lot of
Mhm.
people are like, "No, you can say no. If they want to identify as tall, they can identify. That's not how that works."
Uh-huh.
And so I don't care what, but you don't get to fabricate. You don't get to say, like, I'm at 55 and I'm in good shape. And some people will just, "Oh, well, you have good genetics. You don't think about eating." There are a lot of things. Yeah, there are a lot of things that are in my benefit.
Yeah.
Also, I work out every single fucking day.
Mhm.
There are very few days that I don't work out. I work, and
Right.
so I'm still, so I don't want. I'm fine with someone saying, whatever, but you don't get to, don't dismiss me because of something you do or do not do.
Yeah.
That's the problem that I have, and I see that just getting worse and worse. So I have a very
Mm.
horrible outlook for the future. I mean,
Oh.
I don't even think I would recognize it. I mean, and I would rather
You might
go
be right.
back and try,
Mm.
and I don't know what it would be.
Yeah.
I've thought about this a lot.
Uh-huh.
Part of me wants to go back, like, and then I have to have parameters because I have to be very specific about, am I going back for one specific instance? Can I go back for a certain amount of days?
Right.
This sounds morbid, but if you can't change history, how interesting would it have been to be sitting
Mm.
on a high rise with a view of downtown New York City on 9/11? I know that sounds
Right.
morbid, but I mean,
Sure,
it's
yeah.
going to happen. I mean,
Right.
so, and that's where, some people are like, we talked about this earlier, where people don't even want to talk about specific things. We had mentioned, sure, some people won't want to talk about, "Oh, well, I don't want to talk about 9/11 because it was 9/11." And it's like,
Mhm.
it happened though. And it
Yeah.
doesn't, I'm not trying to be morbid about it, but I'm just trying to think about, what can you even
Sure.
imagine seeing that from that and like knowing what's about to happen? Because I
We
think,
have to
yeah,
we have to talk about it on some level because people also say never forget. So
yeah,
it's like it has to be spoken about.
yeah. But yeah,
Um,
I mean, I've gotten in trouble. If you want to hear a controversial take, here was a
sure.
controversial take that I still hold, and
Okay.
I'm gonna start with the end. If you are a first responder, if you are a firefighter, EMT, police officer, if you're in our military, you are a hero in my book. Those are jobs that you have chosen to do.
Right.
That is not even the Army or the military forces, that we don't have a draft anymore. You're choosing to do that. So you are a hero to do those jobs. That being said, like after 9/11, when people would talk about the firefighters were heroes, people would get mad at me. I was like, no, they were doing their fucking job.
All right.
Because they are heroes for doing that. Because when you sign up to be a firefighter, especially in a town like New York City that has many high rises, you're going to have to anticipate at some point you're going to encounter a high rise fire.
Yeah.
And even though this one was more catastrophic and no one could have anticipated this, your job is to run towards the fire, not away from it. That is literally your job.
I think that, and it's kind of what the message is. I think what some of the Marvel movies are, and it's just sort of like stay modest,
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
like the heroes need to stay modest because it's like if they don't, I don't know, they'll like go nuts.
Yeah. Well, and they've
Yeah,
had
it's a
like
job. Yeah, yeah.
in some of the school shootings, they
Don't
were
make me think about it too much. It's like it's a job. Like, yeah.
right.
I don't want to take it home with me. I don't want to talk about it now. But go ahead. What you were saying?
Yeah. Well, but that's just, I think of these people, I kind of dismiss them for, how often have you heard about a fireman or a police officer losing their life for something stupid? They're giving an innocent ticket and they get sideswiped by a driver who's not paying any attention. Or, I've never heard of this happening. I'm going to go out on a limb and assume it's happened, where a firefighter is going to get a cat out of a fucking tree and fallen out of the bucket or something and killed themselves.
Right.
They're not too far from us. There's actually a firefighting training facility where the city firefighters, they have like a fake building and stuff so they can actually practice going into those. But that's their job, and that's what makes them so amazing that they want to do that for a living.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine the stress of a police officer walking up to a car or a domestic violence call or domestic disturbance call that you're not exactly sure what's going on the other side of the door. I mean, you have to be a hero just to have the wherewithal to want to do that.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes I get chastised because they hear it when I'm like, well, it's kind of their job to do it, and they don't listen to the whole story. So, okay, so I'm going to change my question. I'm going to ask one final question. You have to go back in time. That's the only way that time travel works.
Got it. All right.
So now where do you go?
All right. I'd want to go someplace where I felt safe.
Okay.
That would be. So I don't know. I guess maybe the 80s. You know where I would like to go? I'd like to go to 80s when the Berlin Wall comes down.
That'd be kind of cool.
I would have been like, yeah, I'd like to go back to see that happen.
Yeah. That way, see, and dang it.
It sounds like it would be a pretty great party.
Yeah. I mean, so mine is I want to be, and I forget the rancher's name. I want to be sitting in a field in Roswell, New Mexico, the first week of July, like July 3rd through the 7th or something like that. Just be hanging out. I can just, I'll take a knapsack or a sleeping bag. I'll just hang out there for a few days. And if something happens, it happens. If nothing happens, then at least I know.
Get to the bottom of it. Right. That's a good one.
Everything in my life always comes back to aliens.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to keep mine because you've got yours. Like, we don't need everyone to go to every time. We just need a few people to go back, when they can.
Yeah. Okay, so for the next time when we get together, we'll delve into some time travel as well. Maybe we can do a movie review.
Sure.
What do you think what would you consider a movie or a show that I should watch about time travel that maybe I haven't watched? Because I will tell you that Safety Not Guaranteed, that's a definite. You can watch
I'll check it out.
Yeah. So what is something that maybe I should think about watching?
All right. Here's something that I just watched because it was on a recommendation from somebody else.
Okay.
It's called Predestination. It's from like 6 or 7 years ago. You can rent it on Amazon. Ethan Hawke is in it.
Okay.
And it's like two movies in one. The first movie is kind of not interesting. And then the second movie is more interesting, but only because you kind of didn't expect it to go that way. Even though you kind of thought it's a twist, but it's like, I maybe shouldn't have said it was a twist, but
spoiler alert. Okay, Predestination on Amazon.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll see if I can check that out then.
It's pretty fucked up.
There's one that I've been trying to watch, and I think it's on Prime as well. It's one of their shows called Peripheral. Have you
heard of it?
So it's something where they think that they're like doing like VR or something. They put this head thing on, and it's like they're I forget what they jacking in or something to I don't know, to like virtual reality. And it ends up, and it's a one season. I don't know if there's going to be another season, but there's one season, and it's pretty good. I just end up watching it by myself, and so I'll only watch like half an episode at a time, so I haven't made it through. But it ends up that it's not a game, that they're actually doing some time travel or something, and it's pretty good. But I need to follow up on that one, so I need to finish that one. I'll look at Predestination. Check out Safety Not Guaranteed. I think you'll really like that one.
I have some homework. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining the program again. It's so much fun to talk to you. And this is how I haven't pinpointed your IQ yet. I'll get there. The more so I was going to mention the person that I work with, and this is where I'm always prepared. Out of the blue one day, they just go, "Hey, you always say you can tell what someone's IQ is. What's my IQ?"
Oh, wow.
And I guarantee it. I don't guarantee. I do guarantee it's 2 digits.
Yeah.
That being
Right.
said, but that's not that far under normal. I mean,
Sure,
average
sure.
the United States is like 103. So you could be 99 and 2 digit and you're not that abnormal.
Yeah.
But my response
Mark,
actually
Mark,
was,
Mark, Mark Cuban could be a 98. Who knows?
yeah.
Who the fuck knows?
So I said, so my response without missing a beat was, well, to this person, I go, I haven't spent enough time with you outside of work that I really
Yeah.
can see your decision-making ability.
Hmm.
And they're like, oh, really? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, but I mean, but I needed to have something in the just in
Sure.
case that comment ever came up.
They saw through it though. It sounded like maybe they are a little smarter than you think. Who knows?
They are not.
Okay.
They are not. So
Right.
one day they were reading something and and here's the thing, starting at 5 again, they were saying whatever the word was, and we work in the shoe industry, whatever the word was, they were like, I don't understand spit in Polish. Why does someone need to be Polish? And so
Right.
here's what you do initially upon meeting this person. You stare at them for a long time to figure out whether they are being sincere or not.
Okay.
Once you have figured out that, yes, they are being sincere, you go up and you point out that Polish would be a capital P. And if you're talking about shoes, it would be spit and not Polish. And she's like,
Right.
or they're like polish. I'm like, there you go. But
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, it's just, so no. I will say this person was homeschooled. So I do.
Blame the parents.
Well, I don't commend them. I think that if you're going to need to have, and I know that the pandemic fucked things up, if you're going to need to have a license to cut someone's hair in this nation, you need to have a license to be able to teach children. Because we don't need stupid teaching stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm not saying, but I'm a genius, and I would have been a horrible teacher.
Sure.
For my kids.
It's a different
Yeah.
it's a different speed. Yeah.
So yes, I am, but there's also I think there's whatever. Anyway, we both have homework for next time, and I'll be able to narrow down. So here's one good thing that you have in your favor of having a high IQ or a higher than normal IQ is that you and I can converse. We can carry on a conversation. Because it is very difficult for me to find. I'm not into small talk. Everything needs to have a point. We need to be talking about something, going somewhere, and you and I are continually able to do that. So I appreciate that very much.
Oh, thank you so much.
Yeah. So for the rest of our listeners, you've been listening to me, the Stone Genius, with Shawn Wickens. Shawn, and you said, when are you in? Is it Jersey City?
I'm doing a book appearance for Time Machine Blueprints, available on Amazon. But if you're in the Jersey City area, it's going to be at Word Bookstore, 29 McMillan Place.
That's awesome. And the date again?
Wednesday the 17th.
Wednesday the 17th. That is awesome. So thank you, Shawn, for joining the program. I appreciate it. We can't wait to have you back again. For everyone else out there, thanks for listening to the program. My name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. You know me, I'm often stoned. I'm always a genius. I'll talk to y'all later.